steal. An immediate TP from both sides. That's going to put another player in the boathouse. 10 seconds. They haven't even got close. They've got to get past an Odin. This is looking messy. They need to go right now, and they're going to get slaughtered. It has to be the plan. They have to stop it. In fact, I think he let go. I don't know if he's going to get this one. It doesn't even matter. It's absolutely ridiculous. Leviathan are falling flat on their face. The #1 from Americas. Wow. They're #2 in this game.
Well, right after a pause, Tom, they get to the site with 5 seconds left and start the plant and then reposition it? There's no time. It was done. You saw the round win pop up. No one needed to defuse. That one was done before it got started. That's a big mistake. That's not one you can be making this deep in a series. In that round, an essential win.
Yeah, as said, they're the ones with experience on this stage. They're the ones with players of high caliber, and right now they're the ones looking outclassed. A new boy on the block in Trace. An organization coming into VCT China, coming into Champions as their first look. And right now, well, it looks like they've been here for years, looking to make their way to join some pretty impressive teams over in the playoffs. Heretics up there. Another team of youngsters.
Spike down mid.
And right now, well, Kai, it doesn't even look like he needs support. He's going to go in for a little bit more. He's looking for style points at this point. Had support from his teammate this time after a miss, but even still, yeah, of course he's going back in for more. Why wouldn't he? Yet to take a point of damage. He's looking to put a 10th round on the board, and finally he's been put down. But does it matter? Absolutely not.
10 rounds on the board at the half. This team, painted as the underdog, well, they are most certainly on top right now. America's #1 pushed to 3 maps, but now pushed to 10-2. We'll see if they can recover in the next half.
Cover me, cover me, cover me.
It's not defeat that defines you. It's how you bounce back. Reach your impossible. Lenovo Legion.
Welcome back to half #2. 2 rounds on the board for Leviathan. This has been a dominant display from Trace, and now they're on their attack, where I'll be honest with you, I'm even more scared of what Kai can do. He was attacking in half of those defensive rounds.
Well, I say if some of you are just joining us, it's not a production error. That scoreline is the correct way round.
Swapped.
That is a team with high expectations and a team with none. Like, let's be honest, making it to Champions was a huge stepping stone for Trace. It was showing that they can make it to international tournaments with teams like EDG, obviously being a regular alongside FPX, and Billy, who've made it here before. For Trace, that's not been the story. It hasn't been a team that we have got to learn about in the past, a team of players that, hey, okay, Bianche, we knew him, him before. But Kai is making himself known, I'd say.
Not a lot of people had this result on the board. I think maybe Artis predicted this, but yeah, double digits for Trace. I think this is a surprise, to say the least. And now on the cusp of victory. They've won every pistol bar, the one where they won the follow-up. And it looks like we're getting into the same boat. It's Aspas immediately eliminated, and the paranoia used to save them from being pushed down.
Where's he going?
Kai has gone running straight through, and the punish is there. A sense of normality, but with the B aggression, the site is now wide open.
He's gone rogue. At this point, I can't imagine that was the plan. But even still, they're going to come out with an advantage. The first pistol that Leviathan won was off Aspas with a 3K. He had a Blade Storm by round number 3. Oh, they're going to need a different hero to step up. King's had his moments. Fong Fong is so far away. He's only just making his presence from behind them. Like, this is such a ridiculous lurk that I don't know if they're even going to question. He's still behind them. They've got to clear the players on the side. They have more pressing matters to attend to than this man sneaking up on the flank. A third kill up, but Com, alongside Mazzino, have done well. They've made this one competitive. They made it possible. It comes down to one, and actually, they've made this one work. They've got enough time to get that defusal over the line. Somehow, from that position, Leviathan have got a lifeline.
A lifeline indeed, 10-3. That's now both pistols under Leviathan's belt, and, well,
Nope.
that's...
Nope, it's not happening again.
You don't think so?
Nope.
The classics?
No shot.
All
no,
right.
No, there's no way. If that happens twice, we just end the streak. We just end it. We turn it
11-3,
off.
game over.
That's where it finishes.
We're going
if
home.
it happens, you know,
One enemy remaining.
everybody on watch parties just agrees that, no, actually, I'll get fired if I say that. All watch parties will click stop streaming.
No,
and we'll
don't, hold on. Don't do that. Please don't do that. 10-3.
I reckon Finesse is down.
Trace with double digits on the board. And they've gone for mostly classics.
Ah, they've got one sheriff. It's not happening this time.
Wow,
that's
they're
a shame.
trolling. They're
Yeah.
throwing. The 5 classic buy, they win it. But that sheriff, it could be the curveball. But in all seriousness, yeah, Leviathan need this round. It looks like Trace are going to play right into their hands. The full utility setup, not just from Deadlock, but from Cypher as well. Camera inside B main. They have everything waiting for this B push. And, indeed, you can see Mazzino's got a net in his hands. The second they make noise, net goes in, and you're completely stopped, which means Kai has no support. Really nice setup by Leviathan.
Yeah, it's always going to be difficult walking into this setup.
Over there.
Well, Mazzino, he knows his spots. For looking, not really a lot of expectations. As I said, this is how these rounds are supposed to go. Com even playing the
30
Odin.
seconds left.
He's got to be careful. He does still have light shield, so the sheriff from any distance will be there to finish him off. But with Aspas watching the cross, they have thought of everything. They've got every angle covered. King just waiting for anybody to try and attempt the plant. And actually, they are going to get a plant. Fair enough. That's at least something. A few extra credits.
Yeah. So that side of Leviathan confident they can win the fights. And as you can see, it's not misplaced confidence. The follow-up round for Leviathan. This pistol and second has doubled up their numbers on this map so far, and Trace have hit a bit of a roadblock. I will say, again, Mazzino, you're insane for buying the Ares. The weapon is trash. An Ares and Odin buy in second round. Y'all got love hearts in my eyes right now, but it's the net as well. The fact that you have the dash, and the point is that you can immediately follow up with the other 2 players. He's creating a bit of space, and they're swinging with him at least a second or 2 later. Not possible when that net hits them all.
Over there.
Bianca likes the odds, and he's bought one for himself. He's going to try and I would say counter, but he's not gone to B.
Yeah.
Going for the early setup. And they're walking into Mazzino once again. Now, bear in mind, the weaponry, not the best. But LEV would be a huge stepping stone back into the match if they can win this with the weaponry that they have. Shock darts are being utilized to clear out a lot of that utility. One of the major things with the sensors is a lot of teams, in fact, most teams will play Jet on this map, and you go dashing out and you're immediately stunned. So the fact that that's removed sells an idea. But here you go. I saw that Odin. I was thinking an A site Odin. Bit weird. They're going back towards that B site.
Decent proposed plan, but now the call's being made. They know that there's a player spamming. They know where he was, but they'll be a little bit late to the party. Shift walk up. You have to put some faith in The fact that if Calm starts spraying, if Yankei can trade it out, he's actually going to be the first one to start spraying away. The site under pressure. It's Tex inside his cages. Dash in. Good for Kai. He's got control on the right side. Putting pressure on. Aspas toying with the idea of going through. Only has a Guardian, and now the door is closed on him. It's Calm on backside. Odin in hand, and he doesn't last a second. In fact, it's Bianca to wallbang him out of the round. 5 versus 2. Looking for their 11th round. And what would be another nail in Lev's coffin for sure. Putting them to bed here and now 11-4 locked in.
And it's clean. A flawless round for the side of Trace. A great way to kick things off with their economy. As said, that was a weaker purchase. But just how clean everything is. The utility in support, the spams as well. Actually just immediately ruined. And then just meeting Com in his angle and fighting him back with the Odin.
2 wallbang kills as well in that round. Both of the players on B side didn't even get to see a player. They just got shot straight through.
There's no margin for error. A loss here would destroy the economy of LEV and mean they need 8 rounds in a row. The net has been dodged, and actually, they seem like they know that King's there. It's not worth the gamble, and there has been a push from the defense on the other side of the map.
More rounds for Trace. And a slow start to this one. They know Annihilation is online for Mizzino. An ult you definitely have to be cautious of. It's hit most of the time for either squads that it's been deployed. Barring, I think, 1 on Bind. Smoke down as King runs away, concedes the space. They're beckoning them in. Once that, there you go, once it's broken, the little barrier, take a look at the sonic sensor on A site. This is, like you were saying earlier, Tom, for the dash. But Trace are making noise there and going the exact opposite direction. There'll be a challenge. It's going to be Kai against Aspas. This could be the round decided. If Kai goes down, then they're in trouble. Instead, it's Aspas who falls immediately. Oh, almost catching them on the cross, and in fact, catching them on the way out. Tex completely unaware. Annihilation goes through, but it looks like we'll have a counter spam, some utility perhaps.
It was immediately broken, but it doesn't seem to matter. The time now starting to tick, and they are fighting back into this one, leaving it all onto King. Lockdown going to be used, but he's looking to fight the site. In fact, he can get onto this one without too many problems. The first shot connected. They need a little more, and he's going to get it as well. Leviathan needed a hero. Only one king can wear that crown.
Stepping up when they need him the most. Their back was most certainly against a wall here. Late play through mid, catching them off guard. Same thing that we just saw. Working the way of Trace, and my goodness, he's playing it up to the crowd. 11-5, still a long road back into this, and relying on individual performances is never going to be consistent. But they've managed to take some dangers out of the arsenal of Trace. In particular, Lockdown no longer there. There won't be an easy way into the A site. Annihilation for Mizzino has fallen, but Calm back up with a Hunter's Fury. And that's an ult in his hands that you rarely see miss its mark.
Oh, here comes that attack side operator. Kai is looking for this fight once again, looking for Aspas this time. The Brazilian will live to tell the tale. On the other side, a very different setup. The hero of the last round dropped down to a judge, but if anything, in some cases, it might be considered an upgrade.
Back up Blade Storm for Kai if he needs it. It's a slow walk up through A short. Drone stopped early. Not able to find any information really, and the counter drone will go through. This one focused on middle again, which hasn't really been held by Leviathan in most of these rounds. It's a much more passive hold around that angle. But after sneaking a player through there last round, it makes sense that they want to clear it and see if anyone's filled in that gap. Still, it's pretty open. Bar a passive play from Calm. Orb taken. Didn't get the ult quite online, but just one away, and the shot from Kai dodges with the dash. Hunter's Fury fired through, and it's got one. Hey, bait just before the ult comes in, so he can't be rezzed.
Mizzino's gone, though. That leaves Com to try and make a play above the smoke. Doesn't want to overextend. It will be a post spawn. I don't think there's anything that can be done about that. The second shock dart might do a little bit of damage. And some counter being put in. Kai not willing to give up this fight again. He's going to meet his opponent of Aspas and win another battle. But that Odin's still doing damage, still making this one competitive. As Tex looks to try and jump down, he's caught by utility. They know that he's done it. The spam almost trying to act as a distraction, but both players now sat towards the generator and a full wraparound from Kai, just waiting in the backlines. Tex with everything to do, and he has no idea that there's still another man there. 12 to 5, 7 chances for one of the greatest upsets we've ever seen.
And no matter what you thought about this squad coming in, how much promise they showed, and even after the match versus Vitality, this, it has to be said, is a massive over-deliver for this squad. Beating Leviathan 2-1, 2-0, that's a big accomplishment. They are grinding them down to dust here.
I was messaging good old Ryan Central, the man who watches every game of China. He's like, I think they could give them a run for their money. I think they could give them a match. But I don't think a 12-5 was ever on the cards. Maybe he'll tell me otherwise. 3-man stack, weaponry weak. The only advantage they have is the fact there's plenty here and the damage they've just done.
Kai barely holding on to his life. 8 HP, it is a lot of damage. Tex tagged low. And the weak weapons across the board. It's not looking great. Com's just been wall banged down. A taste of his own medicine. Bianche's been doing this a lot here on the attack side, and the reward is massive. Rotation underway from Mizzino. That's the one main rifle that they have to work with. And a nasty trap setup from Aspas. But if he gets greedy, they've pumped the brakes, they haven't moved. Someone's got to check it eventually. And if he does, they are ready and waiting. But the patience might pay off. He gets Kai, but that's it. Shut down after just one. The trades not coming through for Leviathan. Tex trying his best. 5 shots and a stinger down to the classic. And the Odin spray gets him. It's all on King. 1 versus 2. He clutched it out before. And now has the Vandal to work with. Time ticking, damage done. And he's being pushed back.
Desperately trying to get this kill before he has the chance to isolate the battle. The plant is that moment as he looks for the swing. Nothing connected just yet, but he's definitely tagged a little lower. Isolating these jewels is not going to be easy. They play this one together, and it seems like it's all over. King gets that first spot, but now they know exactly where he is. They're going to try and play this, and they almost line up, but almost doesn't win anything. Last year, champions won by EG. There was a man who said that Americas would never be beaten by China. It's time to take a seat.
There were 2 kings on the server today, Tom, but it's Trace that seemed to have a real shot at the throne. Number 3 Chinese team beating out America's number 1. If you had this in your pick'ems, well, I might take my hat off to you. An upset like we've never seen, and you saw the celebrations after beating Vitality, after winning their first game on the international stage. Well, now they've earned an even bigger celebration. For Leviathan, a well-played game, but today they found out just what China can do.
Yeah, it's so massively impressive. Again, you see those duelists switching up across maps, both having lights-out performances. We saw the switch up of Sentinels, the ideas that this squad have had, the leadership, and also, don't play them on Ascent. Don't go anywhere near it at this stage. We spoke about the fact they'd beaten FPX a couple of times, a tough team to play against. But now they've come in and taken it off Leviathan. They've come in against one of, if not the best player in the world, and Kai has shown, you know what, I can match him, I can beat him. This team is not a team you want to be facing in that playoff stage. And they have put China on the map for what, like the 8th time at this point? We've got to stop underrating the teams coming through from this region.
They say never meet your idols, Tom. Well, what about beat them? Because
Yeah.
that's what Heibei's done here today. An absolutely incredible display of Valorant from the get-go. We knew we were in for something special with this series, but the result and the way, the fashion in which this ended is mind-blowing.
Yeah, I think Champions always has its special moments. It always has its upsets. It always has teams that disappear at the wrong time. And for Leviathan, okay, it's not over. They're still going to look to fight this one back. But the day today goes to Trace. A fantastic performance overall. And you just love to see it.
Well, Tom, after this wonderful win, I'm sure they'll need time for their emotions, but Hebe, he used to look up to Aspas. Now, maybe Aspas can look up to him. Let's toss it down to the Verizon post-match interview where Bella's standing by with Hebe.
Hello everyone, it's Bella back with the post-match interviews, and I'm joined by Trace Esports' Hebe and our wonderful translator Echo. Kongshi Kongshi.
Thank you.
오늘 첫 승리를 가져가게 된 트레이스 e스포츠의 헤이베이 선수 인터뷰 만나보겠습니다. 이제 첫 챔피언스에서 중국 팀으로 처음으로 플레이오프를 진출하게 됐어요. 헤이베이 선수의 개인적으로 우상이라고 알려져 있는 아스파스 선수를 상대로 가져간 승리, 좀 소감이 남다를 것 같습니다. Congratulations again, Heibei. First champions, and you're the first Chinese team to make it to the playoffs. And I heard that your idol is Aspas, and you took that win from him today. So how sweet is that today? Tell me everything.
那这一次是你们第一次的全球冠军赛嘛，并且也是第一支进入到了淘汰赛的 CN 的队伍，并且你也说过你的偶像是 Aspas， 然后跟 Aspas 同台竞技，这场胜利对于你来说会不会更加甜蜜一些？
首先，我的偶像确实是阿斯帕斯，就是也喜欢他很久了，就是也没想到有一天能在这么大的舞台上能跟他一较高下吧，就也很开心，因为也算是击败了我的偶像嘛，但是他永远也是我的偶像。
Okay, I have to say Aspas always be my idol, and I feel really, really amazing because I never imagined I can compete with him in such big stage.
이제 아스파스 선수는 항상 저의 우상이 되겠고, 근데 또 이런 큰 국제 대회에서 아스파스와 같이 경쟁을 하게 될 거라고 상상을 못했다고 합니다. 그리고 이제 차이나 리그, 그냥 중국 지역 자체가 상하이 이후로 좀 다른 국제 팀들과 스크림을 하면서 엄청나게 성장을 많이 했다는 평가가 좀 잦은데 좀 동의하는지 한번 물어보도록 하겠습니다. You know, a lot of people are saying that the whole entire China League has been really stepping it up, and they improved after scrimming with other international teams in Shanghai. So do you agree? What's your reaction to that?
那其实现在有很多人说，在上海大师赛之后 ，CN 整体的实力是有一个很大的提升的。你认同这样的看法吗？
首先我认同的，就是因为我们也打过很多比赛吧，就是比如 EDG 也好啊，其他队伍也好，也是出去，虽然是输了，但是比赛的经验还是比较重要的吧，然后就不断的进步，对。
I definitely approve with your opinion, and I have to say, like, we have a lot of competition with no matter with the ADG or other teams, and I think this experience is pretty special for us.
이제 전적으로 동감하는 바고요. 아무래도 차이나 리그 안에서도 경쟁이 되게 치열하기 때문에 이런 국제 대회에서 얻어가는 경험치도 되게 도움이 많이 된다고 합니다. 그리고 다음 경기 EDG와 G2의 경기인데 좀 같은 리그 출신인 EDG에게 응원 한마디 들어보겠습니다. You know, EDG is playing G2 next, so any words to EDG? Words of encouragement?
下一场 EDG 马上就要跟 G2 打了，有没有什么话想要对 EDG 说，鼓励他们一下？
首先我昨天在酒店的时候已经跟浩东刚好撞到了，然后我们都说我们明天一起晋级8强，祝他们好运，也加油好吧？
加油！
能做到的。
加油
Okay, actually, I just met Haodong in our hotel in such coincidence yesterday, and we said, please, let's get into the playoffs together.
Okay, we'll see.
Yeah.
Congratulations again.
Thank you.
네.
Thank you, thank you.
이제 아까 허동 선수를 호텔에서 만났는데 좀 이제 우리 같이 한번 진출해보자 이런 이야기를 했다고 하네요. 처음 트레이스 e스포츠의 헤이베이 선수 인터뷰 만나봤고요. And don't go anywhere because we have G2 versus EDG coming up after the break. 恭喜恭喜！
谢谢。
Welcome back to Daeyuk. That's 6 in Korean. Look at me, I'm multicultural.
5 seconds ago.
Welcome back, everyone, to Champions Seoul. It's time for our second match of the day. It's G2 Esports taking on Edwards Gaming, who look to become the second BCT China team to make it to the playoffs today. Of course, Golden Boy here alongside Paper Thin and Achilles. And what the hell just happened?
Look, it's insane. I mean, Trace, I had said before, like that, you know, them taking down Vitality, that could end up being one of the biggest upsets of the tournament.
Yeah.
It's been usurped immediately. That was an incredibly dominant performance.
Well, they did it again.
On the Ascent. Yeah. Coming out of that map 1, I said Feng really, absolutely, utterly destroyed LEV. If you spell that out all out, it spells fraud.
Oh, you're calling it back. You're so proud of yourself about
Set it up in the first act and we'll close it out in the third.
You bum. Paper Thin, though, man. Seriously, before we move on, I mean, just this Trace team, I love them. I'm a fan. This is it. Buy me a jersey, buy the bundle. What we got to do to support these boys?
What else do you want? They played amazing today.
Yeah.
Top to bottom, they look really, really good. Yeah, Sunset's still a weak point, but that's okay because the rest of their maps, Bind and Ascent, look phenomenal.
Yeah.
They are absolutely a team
and they
to be
didn't
feared.
just look phenomenal. They crushed them. They flattened them.
Yeah.
Like unreal stuff. I just again, Trace Esports. I wasn't familiar with your game, papas. I'm so sorry. Okay? Pero now, I'm on your side. All right? Anyway, let's go ahead and move on to their compatriots on the other side of that. They're going to be taking on G2 Esports. You got EDG going up against G2. We'll start with G2 first, though, because G2 coming out of this one, when we saw G2 versus PaperX, we were all stoked, Paper Thin. We were all excited. But G2 Esports, it was business, and they took care of it with a 2-0.
And it was business time for sure, and they are really in form right now.
They had their business socks on.
They did. The suit, the tie.
The whole kit caboodle.
There you go. All right,
I love you, man.
I do too, man. No, I just, they're such a fundamentally strong team right now. They're so well prepared for all of their matches. They play off of each other very nicely. They come into all of their games with great ideas. Josh is a great coach. I mean, top to bottom, I am so impressed with G2 this year.
Yeah, it really does feel like this G2 team, Seth, can, find those layers. And if they do it here at Champions, it could be dangerous.
Oh, no, for sure. I mean, this is, I think, the squad to be feared because they just have such a solid read. Valen has been an incredible IEGL since he started playing the game, basically. Yeah, pretty much. And yeah, this team is incredibly gifted. We saw in the, the bumper coming into today, our nice little pre-roll video. They're saying, yeah, we see your playstyle, EDG.
Yeah.
Our playstyle counters yours.
Yeah, no, exactly. Well, we'll see how this plays out, though. But let's check in with the professor and get a lesson for today. It's Jonah P, standing by with the Insu.
I'm now standing by with one of the tournament favorites. It is Jonah P from G2. Now, I think the hype is real. You even have the doubters believing at this point that you guys can do this. So I wanted to ask you, what makes you guys so scary, so good? What is it that is setting you apart right now?
The way I think about it is like no team wants to play us because of our playstyle. Everyone's very aggressive and we capitalize on that. So I think we have the best best discipline compared to all the teams. So I think that that little thing makes us different from everyone else.
Oh, I can't wait to see you on the server today. Good luck.
If there is a word that you can associate with G2 Esports, it 100% is discipline because they exude it every single time. In fact, Paper Thin, I know you have a round that you wanted to break down for us on this. What you got?
I've got round 17 on Icebox versus PaperX. And so there's a lot of interesting stuff going on here. So first of all, I want to highlight what the situation is coming into. This is just coming off the back of Leaf's 4K on the Eco, where he snuck up behind. Now, they're in a really good situation here with their ults. Oops, wrong button. That's okay, though.
Seth cursed
we'll
you,
clear
by the
that.
way.
He
Seth
did curse me. He does this to me all the time.
He said, don't screw it up.
All right, so for real, 3 ults, 1 away for the side of G2. Plus, they're going to opt into an outlaw here because they know that PaperX economy is not good. There's a great reason for that. Leaf also very good with it. But let's start the round. And immediately, I want your eyes to go to the mini-map and look what they ping out. The orb. They're going to prioritize the reckoning here for Valen. Okay, that's the first ult in this equation. Then they're going to wrap around. We're going to speed up a little bit here. And you're going to see they're going to come from the back. Now you've got the outlaw and you've got the util from the Sova to delay here to buy a little bit of extra time. Now pause. There's going to be a wall that comes up, that's to kind of fake a little bit.
Yeah.
And they're going to anticipate Paper Rex's reaction. Paper Rex wants to not have happen what happened in the last round.
Yeah, they don't want that backstab.
They don't want that, so they're going to send some players down themselves. So let's take a look. And they're going to send, first up is going to be Forsaken, and he's going to come around the corner. They're ready for this. Gecko util, boom, he's done. The Reckoning is already out, and it is going to spot something. He is stuck in the corner. They're going to use Gecko utility as well. That's a kill for Icy. That is the Thrash online, one of those 3 ults I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And they knew coming into this as well that there was an ult for Mind Freak here, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have the, yep. You have the Viper's ult, and they are very ready for this. They have so many answers to this, whether it's Leaf getting a kill, he gets the lockdown. If you get the Harbor ult, that's a counter to the Viper's pit. You have the Thrash, that's a counter to the Viper's pit. You have everything you need here to clean out the rest of this round. From the start to the finish, they have this round read like a book. They have Paper X's number the whole way through.
Yeah.
Insane preparation.
It's wild because, you know, it's not just the prep too, it's also their mid-rounding. They're so aware of everything. It's almost as if Valen just has everything in his head and he's thinking about everything in a 3D plane, Achilleos. Like, the guy is just, he's like a walking GPS, it feels like at times.
I think he does exactly that. I think he just goes into his mind palace and then he's able to just see through walls and everything like that and just download and just recollect things from team's previous series. It's been incredible performances from Valen as the IGL, but I mean, Leaf is also nothing to shake a stick at.
And that is something that, Paperton, you were talking about in that telestrator there, that the round prior was Leaf having massive impact here. And well, I mean, quite frankly, Leaf has massive impact all the time because he's just such, he always finds those openings, those gaps. He did it as a duelist, and he does it as a Sentinel even better.
He's so reliable.
Yeah, he is. He's absolutely incredible. And when we think back to Shanghai, I think about him playing Breeze, those lurks that he was able to come up with.
Yeah.
It was insane how many multi-kill rounds Leaf was able to come away with. And when G2 were starting to kind of get ground down, slowing down their performances, is because we weren't seeing that same impact for Leaf because teams were starting to get a read on his tendencies. But he's looking very much reinvigorated here.
Yeah, that's right. And let's not forget, this is not the first time that Leaf has come to a Champs event. It was actually here in 2021. His hair was quite long at that time. But thankfully, he found a pair of scissors and pop, 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 he went right to work.
What team was that? What team was he on?
I believe that
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Are they?
I don't know where they are.
Well, yeah, are they around?
I actually couldn't see because I'm blind.
It was Cloud9.
It was Cloud9.
Okay. I couldn't tell. You
I
gotta help
remember
me
that
out.
team because of Zeta, but
okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Zeta, we love you, buddy. But yeah, he has been here before, so he is no stranger to that stage. The guy has popped off time and time again. But let's go ahead now and turn our attention to the other side of the field. Let's talk about Chichu here because he's going to be speaking about bouncing back after Master Shanghai, a massive event that for EDG's team's history in this Omen player moment.
Hello， 大家好，我是 EDG 的基主。我觉得很不容易吧，因为我们变了阵，然后现在能打成这样，我觉得很不错吧。然后也是我们换阵过后的一些效果，我们也看到了。然后我们希望我们后续能做得更好，然后去突破吧。其实怎么说呢，我们现在其实在心态上面应该是没有负担的，因为毕竟我们也经历过5杠26这种东西过，我们的整体来说是每拿多1分，其实对我们来说都是好的一个过程吧。所以说我们现在就是更加放得开了，因为毕竟已经更烂的已经出现了，不可能我们还会打得比之前那个还烂。对，所以我们现在会放得更开。
Molly's all going to be used in conjunction of one another, and with the rifle aim in hand, it's the only thing that could steady the course. EDG got to put a stop to this. Uncertainty here still. Kang rattling the bars.
也很感谢观众对我们的喜爱吧，跟支持，我们也会去更加完善我们自我的一些技战术吧，然后去打出更好的比赛。因为我们经历了低谷，然后还能喜欢我们，我觉得大家都很不容易吧。我也希望我们整个 EDG 不会辜负你们的希望，然后也能不辜负整个 CN 瓦，去打得更好吧。我希望你们的加油会让我们的手感更加火热。
And after I had mentioned before, right, that Shanghai was a massive, like a hole in EDG's team history. A team that's only ever been on the up and up, but they experienced utter defeat in their homeland. And they're now trying to bounce back here, Paperton. They're trying to find that mojo again that they had when we were first introduced to this team.
Yeah, and that's why they made changes after Shanghai. They talked about how they needed a reset in a bunch of different ways. You bring in Simon, you change the coach, and all of a sudden, EDG still doing what they do regionally, sure, they're winning, that's great, but now they come in internationally and they smash foot. And it's on the back of these two controller players who have been really, really special for them. Chi-Chu and Smoggy, absolutely incredible. Obviously, everybody knows Kong Kong.
Yes.
He's always nuts. He's a very, very good player, but it's some of the other players now that are starting to step up behind him and really start to take over these games to assist him in his role.
Yeah, and is that like going to be the thing here? Because the thing was, everyone was talking about EDG and Foot was a bit of a muddy game. Yeah. Does EDG drag G2 into the mud with them?
I think that this is going to be difficult. I think that EDG does have they certainly have the firepower to contend with everybody that's there on the other side of the stage. My biggest concern is going to be how does the IGLing look for them going up against Valorant? Because you have somebody who's very recently been taking up that role and piloted the team to good success. They've maintained their position at the top of VCT China, but Valorant has so much veterancy. Does this end up being a Mako v Boaster type situation here, or will this time the veteran IGL be able to win out?
I mean, who do you got again, Paperton, on this one?
I have G2. I think they don't fall into the mud.
I mean, I took a punt with EDG, but we were all wrong about the first series too, so.
All right, well, let's go ahead and see how this all shakes out. We got G2 Esports about to take on EDG. Let's head out to the stage and meet our teams.
G2. Edward Gaming.
Can history repeat itself? Can a VCT China team defeat a VCT Americas team? We just saw Trace Esports do the unthinkable against Leviathan. The question on everyone's mind is, can Kong Kong and EDG manage to pull one through and dethrone and take the G2 boys off their pedestal here? But we got our series layout as well.
We do, and I think that this is going to be a little bit of an inverse compared to that Trace series. They said we don't really rely on hero plays, we don't rely on individuals, we rely on our teamwork. I feel like for EDG to come out on top of this one, it might have to come down to some of those hero plays for Kong Kong to have these fantastic moments to break through the lines of G2.
Yeah, you're just going to have to find a way to keep G2 off balance, to get them to start having their protocols fall apart. That's something that's been very, very difficult for most teams to do this year. G2 is a well-oiled machine. It's going to be getting through those structures, finding cracks in the defense that G2 has let very few teams through.
Yeah, and that is going to be a challenge. I think it is quite fascinating, though, right? Like, we have been really pushing about the individuals and what they bring to the table here, but as we just saw with Trace, teamwork does in fact make the dream work. So maybe that will be the recipe for success that G2 can continuously lean on, because that has been their whole MO throughout the entirety of the America season, Achilleos.
Now, it really has been, and right now I think they're looking absolutely red hot. Taking down Paper Rex, they were dismantling them. They were having solid ideas and understandings of exactly what Paper Rex...
And that's a team with all the individuals.
Yes, yeah. But they were able to go ahead and pick things apart moment after moment. This is going to be a tough one here for EDG, but if they can hit those highs that we have seen from them in the past, I think they're absolutely capable of dealing with G2. It feels like they're on the up and up, and right now we can see a bit of a pivot compared to the last time that they played on Icebox, as Simon's going to be there on that KO.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of, what other initiator do you want to go with? Which Flashinator initiator do you want to...
Flashinator. I like Flashinator.
Flashinator, hey, that's good. I like it. Yeah. No. But, Gecko or KO seems to be what most teams want to run with. And we already know what G2 does. The Harbor here, Valent's Harbor, really, really impactful. He's not just a fragger. He's so smart with the way he uses utility, the way he's going to set up those cascades and high tides to allow for their retake play. They're so patient. The one thing that makes G2 so difficult to go up against is they know when to fight and they know when not to. That is something that a lot of teams don't do well with.
Well, let's see how this all plays out, and get ready for this one. We got your caption on standby. It's Sideshow and Brand's tragic hairline.
That's just insanely out of pocket.
An insane thing to write in
Also,
the prompter.
imagine saying you have the tragic hairline of the two of us. What's going on there?
Yeah, and I missed the memo. St. Patrick's Day was a few months ago. But we're going to get into the action soon enough. G2 versus EDG. And listen, there's a couple of things you can go into this match talking about. One of them, though, much more important, given the fact that we just witnessed a massive upset in the form of Trace beating Leviathan. And it's that spotlight. EDG is that powerhouse China #1 seed. They're used to that kind of attention being settled on them. They're used to all of that expectation as well, and the fact that they had that poor Shanghai performance and needed a return of it. But to be honest, at this point, they're losing steam, and the rest of China is catching up and maybe even beating them out in terms of overall placements.
We'll have to see during this match.
Yeah.
If they can get a win here, that would certainly put the attention back on EDG as the team to lead this Chinese region forward. But you're right, they're doing it by committee at the moment, which is even more brilliant to watch.
A map like Icebox to kick things off. Here's G2's playground. They are absolutely stellar from beginning to end, usually. In terms of the calling, the desk was mentioning the word mud quite a lot, which I do appreciate. Don't think we're going to see much of it here. Shots rattled by Leaf. He's going to be giving them a lot of space there, playing for his own life. Simon, the plan, left to push it back. We're going into the post line here. Kangan wants to get aggressive and will be rewarded. That's 2 players plucked out of the picture. Maybe a few more where that came from. He's eager for it, but Leaf, you don't want to test to this guy because he will challenge. Standing tall. This guy has already done the damage and has fallen to pieces before their very eyes. EDG, it's Smoggy forced to back away here, still with a plan down, time ticking. Leaf, not too many options left for him, has to stick this one just for the win cons, having a defuse, sticking it all away. Slow body bullet tag, but the final one will do it. Straight to the chest of one singular Leaf. And so a pistol round earned up here for EDG. Great beginning.
And a great performance from 2 players to keep your eyes on throughout this entire match. Kangkang to open up. Gets double-faced or at least traded, or an attempt to trade, I should say, from Valin. Instantly a response from Leaf, being able to pick up 3 on his own. So great individual performances from both of those players. I think Kangkang's going to need to try to take moves like that, where he fights in, knowing that G2 are going to be double-swinging him or trying to trade him. He has to try to outskill G2 today if they want a chance at winning this. The whole of EDG does. Because we talk about it so often, but this G2 team, they are so disciplined.
Yeah.
You know you're not going to be able to catch individuals on their own too often. They're going to be trying to set up these team plays. And I don't think that's the area that EDG should try to fight on, having better teamwork than G2. They want to lean into their strengths, which is the individualism, the brilliance that they can pull out at times.
If they can drag teams into that tempo and play style even better, the trouble is G2 not really privy to it. They don't particularly like to opt into it.
No, they are an extremely slow-paced team, especially once the side swap and G2 get onto the attack side. But you can see here, for example, no G2 players on the defensive A contesting these angles. They allow EDG a lot of space.
Really going to be trying to lean onto the retakes, I think, throughout most of this map, at least for this half.
Thing is, though, if you play retake all the time, EDG are going to get an idea of that, and then they're just going to start vacuuming up space without using too much utility. They're going to have it all for post-plant. Kankan's going to be on aggressive angles. You know, at some point you do need to mix things up and go for contests, tuck somebody into pipes, run strats like this.
This is getting a little bit messy, but at the end of the day, it is cleaned up with 4 players surviving, so EDG will be happy with that one. Keep it moving. Going forwards now into the bonus, bit of extra weaponry.
And some good players with some good ult points there as well. Getting closer to Simon and Chishu's ultimates, who are the best ults to have online for your attack side on Icebox. Now we get to see what G2 are doing with an economy advantage. This is one of the rounds where you might expect them to play a little more aggressive. You know, we talk about G2 playing slowly, but that doesn't mean that they're completely passive all the time. They do have aggression. They do like to contest, tuck people into nest, fight over B green, for example.
Deep tap over there. Not too sure if the orb got grabbed.
I don't believe so.
No, it's still there.
It's still there. Just trying to see whether nobody and Smoggy are going to sync up that utility combo that we see from a lot of teams on their attack side. Notice as well that Chichu is not using Nanoswarm to deny pipes, but Trent might get overwhelmed.
Yep, might indeed. Underhanded flash as well, straight through and out. Nobody wants to take that point and contact, and his body's dropping on either direction still. 2 left to stand here for G2. EDG with that player advantage. Massively so, in fact, now left down to just Jonah P. This is an EDG fully powered up, fully empowered. A bonus round win. That's 3 in a round now.
That's a fantastic beginning for EDG. They used very little utility there. Like I said, no shock molly combo to deny ult orb. They used the knife over towards pipes, but they also didn't use a nanoswarm to deny space. They're not using util on A already in round 3 because they've got the read that G2 are going to be sat back a little further. This time there was a bit of a brawler scrap on site, but you could just tell from the position that Trent used his drone. He had no clue that EDG were pushed up that far. He thought they were still sitting back waiting to exec. Valen likes to get the read of teams throughout a series. Sometimes G2 will be a bit slow off the blocks or download their opponent as the games go on, sometimes from map to map.
I'd agree with that point. They tend to take a bit of time as well, like you said, to download the opponents and make the necessary reads. It was becoming a bit of a chore, honestly, watching them in Americas. They drop the first map and then just go on to rinse by the time they got to the 3rd.
But what that means is, if you're a team like EDG looking to secure another massive win for China here today, it's about trying to punish them when they're in that warming up phase, when they're gearing up. You want to get as many rounds on the board as early as you possibly can, so that comeback becomes impossible.
EDG just be ensuring to take this one slowly, steadily. Orb in front of them too, plenty of players close to ults. One of the benefits of getting off to the start, bit of snowball onto their own attack side as well. You have some big ults to utilize, which Simon's going to be letting loose and letting rip right now with a no command, at least to get a bit of safety down onto the side. Nobody wants to get this plant down. It will be defended.
Simple cleanup.
Yeah.
But a pretty big ult expenditure. It's one that Simon would love to have for the next round. Perhaps a little worried about time pressure there. But they've kept things very, very clean apart from that no command usage. Coming into round 5 here, where they'll have a pit, no real ults to be able to get into the sites. But to be honest, with the way that G2 are currently playing, EDG are just kind of waltzing on in there.
Not too much of the early fighting, as we've already mentioned. At least when we've seen it drift over towards the A site. We'll see though, G2 also coming up close to a couple of ults of their own, big ones in fact. 2 from the lockdown, Reckoning, Thrash 1 away. Kill could put that onto the board, but G2 have got to start, I think, pressuring at least that they're fighting over A early. Again, the knife just tagging onto the 2 of them. Pair of players, Valen and Icy. Ordered back, pushed away. And Jonah P is going walkabouts here with a wall in his face as 2 players side by side. Again, a game of time, and G2 are going to be catching it, looking completely in the wrong direction.
No response there to the audio cue of the wall falling. They're already pushed up too far. Leaf falls as well.
My.
It's open season. EDG looking like this one is far too easy for them. Simple stuff. These first 5 rounds that we've watched, I mean, look at this.
Yeah, okay.
Kankan making a bit of a fool there, making Icy dance and taking the pick. Valen's the final one to pick up the pieces, and it's as likely as anything that he'll take a bullet and have his ult for the next round. A 1v5 here. It's just not doable.
No, it's impossible. Got to keep the rifle, but already spotted out, noted, and he's going to be swarmed. Won't be able to carry that one into the next. Another flawless one, 5 alive, this time on a gun round. EDG have a tremendous amount of momentum behind them now.
Remember that EDG have been sat kind of in the back of champions today, watching their compatriots destroy teams that other people are suggesting favorites for the tournament.
Oh yeah.
They don't know if it's going to go 2 maps, 3 maps. They have to be ready. They're sat there backstage waiting to go on, thinking obviously about the game coming up, but also watching the match, realizing, wait a second, our region is doing extremely well today. And if that didn't give them enough confidence, how about a 5-0 start against G2?
On Icebox, nevertheless. I mean, it's a map that G2 as you said, mainly on the attack side, the calling of Valen. He'll be running rings around teams, he'll be calling perfection, the ults in terms of how they sync it up. It's all being worked to a masterpiece, but they're not on that side yet. They're on the defense, and they are struggling, hence the timeout that's being called. Adjustments have to be made. They thought that they maybe have come to terms with it, but, I mean, G2 just losing track.
I think in that previous round, G2 making a hard read that when the knife and the recon came in over towards A, Valen, he's thinking about going for the ult orb, he backs off and he's thinking, all right, this is similar to what I've seen before. This is EDG contacting in behind this utility onto A. And in fact, completely wrong read. EDG mix it up, drop the wall on B and get a couple of picks.
Yeah.
Just for people who haven't been aware of both of these teams, if you haven't been following them in their regional leagues, I thought from watching EDG, now they don't think this because they don't permaban it, but I thought Icebox was their worst map that they play. So for them to be 5-0 up right now, looking really prepped and running rings around Valen's understanding of what's coming at him, pretty fantastic stuff.
Bodes well, definitely bodes well. And another pause. I see the timer frozen.
Yeah.
That strikes fear into my heart, Josh. That strikes, especially when you don't see the timeout.
We had a lot of very late hit rounds in our first series of the day. It's already the time ticking. We could be down for a very long one today.
Been here a few hours already.
Yeah, buckle in, get some snacks. G2 on the attack side are going to be slow as well.
I was
and here it
waiting
is.
for it.
Confirmation.
God, Pansy lands in Korea and this happens. Okay.
And this will give more time for Valen to be thinking about things. But also, when you've just come out of attack timeout and there's ideas that you want to implement, that's frustrating.
Yeah, definitely is. Gives them a bit more time, though, to think it through. We'll see, find out a bit more information in terms of what exactly is going wrong.
Yeah, and it looks like we're going to be back in the game fairly shortly as well. The timer's already ticking. We're into this next round of Icebox. So very small tech pause, nothing to be too concerned about. G2 trying to make sure here that they get good info on A, tucking Valen into nest.
It's a bit of a bluster, isn't it? 4 of their players looking to try and fight this one. Waiting a bit of time out here with a Dizzy and the Dart. Only the one connection. They know that they've got acknowledgement that there's an EDG player at least around, but they don't know how many. And the slow pace that EDG are applying right now is making G2 just sweat a little bit more. Valen even going for a couple of peeks here, but he's missed. Oh, no, not quite. It's nobody that's missed the timing here with a Cove to evacuate. It's going to be safety in numbers. Backing all the way out of A. Almost expecting that reposition.
Choosing not to try to turn that into an all-out brawl like some teams might. There's that discipline of G2, dropping back in the 5v4. But with their weapons, still 3 players with Sheriffs, it's not yet a clear advantage.
Just the first hurdle that's cleared. About 40 seconds.
Look at all the space that Chichu got over towards B very early on. Dodge on those shots. Could have been bad for Simon.
Mid to B setup here. Leaf doesn't have the weapon to try and push this one back here, so should be an open side, but also being committed, and I don't blame them with only 20 seconds. Could be the difference maker. Simon going to be sticking that, going for the plan as well. Thrash doesn't really clear too much as well, but a backstab, no way! Responded and adjusted. Icy just whips it around and rips the head clean off. Now the Reckoning, lockdown, all going to be combined. EDG just trying to stem the bleeding and stop this one before it gets out of hand. Players are weak. G2, they committed a hell of a lot into this round for them to try and lose it. Slide awareness, Smoggy already wrapping this one. Thrash connecting, that's a detainment. And there's still potentially that time on the board to make a go of things. Damage done though, as a casual reminder, and Simon still with that nade in his back pocket. Could play spoiler to absolutely all of this one. It's already gone flying and Trent is finished. Icy with a defuse, but that's been broken, and already I hear it, time has just squandered. Gotten away from G2, but the kills not away from these EDG players. Edward today is gaming.
G2 did a decent job of that, considering the amount of money that they had. I mean, that tuck into nest, not cleared properly by EDG because they're contacting in, because they don't want to make it obvious what position on the map they are. There's going to be gaps. So G2 tried to exploit that. But at the end of the day, too little time and too much good post-plant utility. Double nanoswarms on the spike got broken by the shock, but they still had that fragment to work with. G2 get rifles back. Are they going to try something similar again where they go for a piece of aggression? I think doing the same thing on A would be silly, but you know, going for a mid push like this where they triple up does seem like a decent idea. They were threatening flanks like this constantly in their opener against Paper Rex.
Using the drone though to take that space. Don't see the turret. It does give you access to flank most of the way. Instead, that one's just watching towards the flank because EDG want to go for this 5-player group up. That will go down here without too much, again, push back.
This turret position is actually lovely. You look at the position of Jonapi's wall. If the turret was on the left here, it would get blocked off by the Viper wall.
So it's broken. Lures EDG now to the flank as well with its null command emanating out. Valendo catches the kill onto Kang. Wasn't expecting that one. Looking into the wrong direction. But the first kill does not necessarily mean a round win. We'll do the rest of the work past that point. Dizzy to clear this one. G2 blinded. Oh, still lands the shot before the eventual trade. And holding it tooth and nail in through the back. But G2 finally with those guns in hands put a round on the board.
It's the same flank play that ends up working out for them. It's been a staple of the G2 defensive playbook. They bring it out, and despite the turret realizing that they're out there, they get the round done. Mostly thanks to Valen and what he was able to do to control the post-plant aggression. You watch him take down Kang there, and that's an absolutely vital one. In those kind of spots, the Jet's always going to look to try to get aggressive and open up some space on the other side of the map. So the first attempt to stop the bleed in there from G2. Now they're going to start to get ults online as well, but I'm sure EDG are thinking up a response.
Yeah, that's despite the fact as well that Valen at high seed ended up using it into that half by round 6 to no avail. They're almost halfway to him again.
It's very true.
Those kills and the diffusers stacking up.
This looks a lot like the same setup as when they pushed Valen into Nest. I think when you push up deep like this and then you get a recon dart, you can be pretty certain that EDG are not just going to contact back in.
And they're just full running, full sprinting. Simon with a tap as well.
Trent too far away for the Hunter's Fury.
Yeah.
But he might get it on the next tap.
Oh, Walkabout Sleep has got to put a stop to that one. He will. Alternating the movement, making sure that he stays frosty. Aware of all these possibilities. Chichu is being caught out of position. Hunter's Fury, at least to relieve that pressure, does not do enough. So with Chichu dropped, that's 2 players now down for EDG. Plan going to be committed. Simon gets it, but that's going to be a tag onto him as well. Lit up, and already players fall one after another. G2 racking them up. That's 5 alive for a flawless round to get that second round just underneath them.
You see what a difference it makes when G2 anticipate what the round looks like from EDG, what nobody is calling. There, they had the protocol to flush out both of those lurkers through mid. Great discipline to even think of the second player in that spot. And the fact that they'd pushed out on A, got the recon deep as well, gave them enough peace of mind to know it was a full B hit. They weren't worrying about which direction things were going. The things that were working for EDG early on were when they were quiet and contacting, making it very difficult for G2 to read it. And G2 were playing more passively.
Yeah.
At the moment, this seems like a very good adjustment that came out of the tactical timeout. So EDG are going to try to make one of their own. See what Muggle can do. And Haldong, of course, got a lot of experience IGL in this team before in the past.
Yeah, it's an interesting note. I mean, we didn't really talk about it too much when we were covering the EDG game recently, but sometimes a shift up is what you need, honestly, because this EDG team, they felt just, I don't know, knocked down, unable to really get back up, I think, as well after that series of losses at Shanghai. But they make a series of moves, switch it up. Haldong in the assistant coach seat, fresh perspective, I think, especially from a former player, maybe exactly what the team needed.
Yeah, I think I would phrase it as that they had hit their ceiling. They were still performing very well in China, but they'd had one breakout event last year at Tokyo, and they weren't able to replicate that. They weren't able to go further than that. And so at that point, you got to take a risk. It might make you worse, benching Haldong and bringing in Simon and making all of these changes. But if it doesn't, perhaps it's the thing that's going to crack you through that ceiling and bring home a big result for a fan base that is extremely hungry for it. And now they're in a race with the rest of the Chinese teams by the look of things to crack a big result here at Champions.
Yeah. Snipe just unable to get broken early off the rip here that Simon keeps throwing out, so he gets the tag and the information.
But it doesn't push G2 back. G2 still get good information. And this is not A.
Yeah.
Yeah, this usage of the recon dart, stuff like that, it's basically exactly the same round that we just watched. Last time, the wingman got denied by the nanoswarm from LEV, and then you had ults ready to deny. I could see a very similar round happening here unless EDG have got something different. Well, the shock's a good first thing that's different.
Nano swarms. No longer a problem for them. Again, a lot of walking up behind these walls and underhanded flash. Simon wants to make a play for this one. Leaf was tucked though, and there is safety there, but not for the rest of the rest of his team. They couldn't quite follow up on all of that, so he's going to get traded. Tag up into the back. Thrash now followed through, straight through onto the side, but broken just before the detainment. Onto the high ground, Kang. He's getting quirky with it in terms of trying to play this spacing and timings as well. He's already flanked straight through, and Icy, yeah, the knife out, just was not expecting it. Deep dart. Able to follow off of it. Trent is so damn concerned now. All these players, because Kang is ripping them to shreds, man.
What a great adjustment coming out of the tag timeout. Obviously, great individual play from Kang too, but I got to give credit to Muggle and Howdong. We were just talking about how good the tag timeout was from G2. EDG hit the panic button and immediately come out with a round that looks exactly the same to the one they just ran, except they flash, they push deep, they trade out Leaf, who had the lockdown, and then they have all of that position for Kang to go nuts in the post plan.
This playstyle of EDG, it is almost hard countering the fact that G2 don't really have a natural. Oh, that's unfortunate.
That's really bad in this patch.
Yeah, we won't talk about that.
Yeah, you are not going to have any smoke for mid now. It's a good job that they break the turret, otherwise that would be giving permanent mid info.
Yeah. Well, the point I was just about to get on to is that there's not necessarily a natural op carrier on the G2 side. Something to punish, I think, a lot of this contact play that EDG are going for.
It's a great point. Icy, even when he plays Duelist, doesn't pull out the operator too much. He is almost the opposite of Kang in many respects.
Yeah, he definitely is. Not leaning into it. Although Kang's rifling definitely been on the up and up now. A year plus, to be honest. And again, that contact playstyle, just walking all the way up. Shot dart again is good. Dash is active, but it's going to be dissipating. No value to be had. Just walking most of the way up. Another plant down. Shot darts are missing. So there will be no pushback, and there's that extension into round 10 now.
Kang's playing for this, trying to deny the lockdown.
He knows what to play for. Just needs some supplemented utility as well. I can hit a foot. Steps! Lovely side step. Just rips to it ahead. Clean off G2. Have no chance in hell to keep playing this one. Spam through the box. Leaf is lucky to be alive. He'll be backing all the way away. Needs to be defended here. They want to keep these guns.
This G2 team that's normally so good at shutting down superstar individual players.
They just cannot deal. I mean, cheeky.
They cannot deal with Kang.
What we're getting from Kang in this map so far, it's Tokyo.
It really is. It's given Tokyo.
Tokyo.
12-4, top of the scoreboard. Not just for his team, but top of the leaderboard overall.
Yeah, and not just the kills that he's getting, but here, completely denies a lockdown opportunity, completely shuts down G2 trying to trade him out. You know, he's facing two players so often and killing them both. And that's going to win you rounds.
G2 are going to be desperate to salvage up any rounds that they possibly can before they get into that second half here for round 11. At least they do have the Viper's Pit in the back pocket already offloaded. Down through B main, one less thing to worry about. But the money isn't too good. Only a couple of players with a rifle, so you're looking at Icy, Val and Jonah P to do the damage. Drone, get the tag and a break.
Yeah, Simon backs off as Chishu goes forwards. They're hoping that they don't read there was a second player there.
And it's just barely held. Jiggle peaked as well. Chichu almost lucky to be alive. There was a couple of players that quickly were looking to try and put a stop to this one. Trent plugs up the gap in through mid.
A is extraordinarily open, but if they come into the B split, Jonah P could win the round still.
Allen's dropped. I think that's through the window. Leaf has got a lot to do into this spot as well, but just with the Stinger in hand, close quarter combat, even with him being set up for it, the pit's still up and active, walking around. Icy, he does drop Kang. With the Dizzy broken as well, he knows that there's even more where that come from, and Jonah P's worked his magic! Right from behind, just not expecting that. Level of awareness that went missing there for EDG into this round, and it leaves it to Chichu. One player running and gunning, but time is against him with only 12 seconds to do it all. Him versus Jonah P. The timing should be granted. You need to hit a miracle shot, but Jonah P won't even give him the chance.
That is brilliantly played by Jonah P. He gets out of his pit for a kill over towards Orange, and that makes the rest of EDG think he's still playing on site. He manages to duck back inside his pit.
That kill there.
Yeah, that kill is just so big. He manages to duck back inside his pit, and then they don't realize he's somehow managed to loop-de-loop behind them and picks them both up from behind. He's called the Professor for a reason. And that was locking down B with a Viper's Pit 101. Learn.
Yeah, I take that class. Wouldn't do me much good, but I'd take it.
I think the classes are normally more generalized than that.
Yeah,
it's
that's
extremely
incredibly
specific
for an opener.
Yeah.
Egotistical professor. We've all been there. Not me. Didn't go to university.
I got kicked out.
It's round 12. And there's big ults online for G2 here. Again, going for this re-clear into mid. They've been doing this quite a lot with the drone. Gives them peace of mind in that direction as well. They've got to get a good read, at least, that this is going to be leaning over towards the A side. They do have, again, the ult for the retake.
Yeah, and they're going to try to...
Leaf dropped.
Oh, that's huge. No lockdown now available. And Simon, if he pops ult, can deny the reckoning. He's just got to get the timing right here.
You should run.
Locking down one avenue as well. Lockdown's going to be just dropped straight into the center of the site with his flank. They're going to be pushed out into all these extremities, and Smoggy is left to watch most of this one. Tucked, crouched. The peak timing is absolutely everything. And Smoggy delivering death blow after death blow and toying with his food at the end. He knows that he's essentially wrapped this one up. Running around him, not giving Jonah P any easy access. Not to the body. Valen shut out. G2 with a movement, nice little jiggle, pit in the face. Jonah P shut down and shut out of the round entirely. This is a 9-3 if I've ever seen one.
And a beautiful half from EDG. I mean, the way that they played around the ults in that final round completely outplayed G2. And then you think back to previous rounds where Kangkang is pushing deep onto screens to deny lockdown. They've just had a phenomenal awareness of how G2 are going to play around ults this whole half. And I'm sure that's going to extend into the next.
Oh, come on. Trade in any phone in any condition guaranteed and get $800 off the new Galaxy Z Fold 6. Only on Verizon.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Cover me, cover me, cover me.
It's not defeat that defines you. It's how you bounce back. Reach your impossible. Lenovo Legion.
Be a Valorant global event, I think. We've had a few upsets now, early days so far, but with order number 1 Siege just taking a knock, and EDG looking primed and ready to take one of the best maps from G2 for G2 away in the form of Icebox early on with this 9-3 beginning. And my goodness, it's listen, China just one event too late, I think, as well. They probably would have liked to have done this at Shanghai, but they'll take now.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, that's a great question. Would you have preferred to win in China or win champs? I think most people would still say champs.
Oh yeah,
but to be honest, that might be a tough question for some of the Chinese players. But I mean, we're way far away from that. Way far away. But it's difficult not to get sucked up into the hype. Again, EDG, if they're able to close this out, would be looking good to be the best performing number 1 seed in the tournament.
Yeah. What a world, man. What a world.
Yeah. G2 have got some time to fight back, but they need a pistol here for it to seem even remotely doable.
That's the trouble, is their attack side does look good. But as you mentioned, you need a pistol round to even just get the buffer room to breathe, because EDG win this one, you're looking at 11 on the board, and at that point, it's just, I mean, it takes anything. A swift breeze can potentially take you over the finish line.
This is where nobody absolutely shines. If there was a lurker over on A, he's dead right now. I mean, the risks that he's taking, he's a very feast or famine player.
We do love our nobody.
But nobody over on the A side. It was just guaranteed to his team as the IGL that this is a B hit. They should be able to completely box G2 in here.
They're going to go for a refine, a reclear. It's just a contact swing. Straight up, taking the fights as well. This one could get dangerous, and Dire still winning it potentially out as well. Kang needs some help here over the shoulder as well. Reinforcements have to arrive. He needs some defense, but still, yeah, Chichu is right there alongside him. How could I doubt? The 10th round, a pistol round. EDG. Oh, yeah, they've heard all about the upsets.
Looking great there on the pistol. They got the read perfectly that it was on B. Is it a risk to go for a reclear like this when you know that they're 5-stacked in B main? Absolutely. I mean, you're opting into a numbers disadvantaged team fight, and yet they still come out on top. They had that element of surprise, dodged the utility beautifully, and their players are popping. I mean, just take a look at the scoreboard here. I've been bigging up Kang. Smoggy was amazing in the game against Foot. Chichu's at the top of the scoreboard. Everything is working right now for EDG.
Right here.
It would be unfathomable that they dropped this map from this point.
It really would.
And that's without taking anything away from how good G2 have looked here. It's just, it looks like EDG's day here on Icebox.
Right there.
The read and more firepower hitting. Weapon in the hands of Smoggy. He's going to be hearing all this noise. Bullet sent flying. Straight into the back here. No punish. Oh, almost catching onto Smoggy. He's going to get overwhelmed. Surely will fall. Drop the gun into the laps of G2, including this plant. Time might get against him as well. It's long rotates on a map like Icebox.
Tucked up position as well from Trent and Valen. Looks like Valen's trying to bait for Trent.
It gets tricky at this point. It gets real tricky. Be moving in and out as well. They're in the walls, man. They're in the walls, and it's all about collecting the kills when they're at least propped up, and opportunities are presented to you. Kang, not to be denied. It was looking tricky. You can see the health on a few of the players just to the right, especially when they get that plan down. I start to get a little bit worried, but all contained, all maintained in the end.
They are in control of the map. Dashing into them.
No, I respect that.
That's ridiculous from Kang.
That's ballsy. Oh. Time has paused.
Yeah.
You know what that means? Oh, it's a timeout this time.
Attack timeout from G2. When you call tack timeouts after only the pistol and the follow-up, yeah, I'm worried.
Yeah.
Because what kind of input can you really get from your coaching staff here that you didn't get during the halftime anyway? I understand that EDG are up to 11. Maybe you just want to run through the bonus, figure out what's going on. Maybe overall things are off. Comms, somebody's freezing up on stage, someone's not playing as you would expect them to. But that's the final timeout that G2 have access to. They're 8 rounds behind, and EDG are 2 away from closing things out.
Sorry, no more adjustments.
I think Josh might have a chance to talk to his team in just a couple of rounds' time, to be honest.
Definitely
face
will.
to face.
At least the turnaround mentalities. But maybe just throwing out a set strat, an idea, anything to counteract this momentum that EDG have right now. And I mean, they're going to be going into it with bonus round weaponry. A couple of the players didn't invest. They might be able to buy for the next. I mean, Kang might even just be choosing to make sure he can save up for an operator.
It's very unusual the way that this map has played out, not just because it's a map that G2 are great at and EDG have looked a bit rough on in China, but also because G2 have all year been excellent at shutting down individuals that meet them one by one and get double kills, get multi-kills on them. They are very, very good at trading that out. We have seen so many multi-kills so far in this map. Huge ones, massive impact. And this looks like a scrap on B.
Hold in their face. Try and get your way past this one here with a Dizzy, getting that acknowledgement. It's G2 sending a couple of bullets through. Do collect the one, drone as well on top of it. Kang has to respect that. So we'll back away, Chichu. Free exploration, underhand with the flash as well. Right from behind, that is sublime, man. EDG just cooking in the moment. They brought it to that 3 versus 3. Simon up close, onto the corner. We'll have to give that one up. Backs himself away here, but they know that G2's there. They want to refight it as well. These timings they're taking almost to perfection once more. Putting a stop to anything that G2 are trying to go for here. 50 seconds left into the round. Could call for the pause, but your Viper's down and out. Can't even wall up and just try and fake like you could be rotating. Faking like you could be walking up. Valent's hard committed. Bodies and shoulders peeking out wide. In the danger zone here, though. Chichu just overcommitting here, and Valen's the one to at least put a stop to all of that nonsense. Simon now, last one left. First one's good. 2 more players to deal with. It was just a slight tap as well, and doubled up side by side, jumping around the corner to set this one up. Simon, a wonderful job to try and isolate these fights out, but only 2 bullets left to work with. Before he has to commit to the reload, and with the wide swing in the face, that bullet just will not land. So G2 get to stay and compete, at least on Icebox, for a little bit longer.
First time, actually, that we've seen EDG go for one of those defensive reclears or like a piece of aggression that is, I think, risky. We've talked about it being risky in previous rounds, but this is the first time that they lose it. Normally, they've still been winning out these situations, even when they take fights out in the open, trying to force the tempo up against G2. They would have to they would have to take risks like that and lose it so much more, though, for this map to become even close.
Not again!
Well, I mean, that's just 1 for 1, isn't it? Smoggy did it.
No way.
Why not for Jonah P?
Brutal.
See, the thing is, people are going to say that Jonah P's rattled in that situation, even though Smoggy did it earlier. And you know,
when they were dominating.
Massively leading.
Oh, yeah.
Not everything's fodder for the armchair analysts, but
it is for me. Ready to pick it apart. What 2,000 years of Roman war can teach you. This Kang is hyper committed. He's got nobody alongside him here. The Z connects though. They should know he's up top, and the dash will not save you. Nobody. Again, seeking to at least potentially get a few more kills. All for naught. 2 of them dropping. Drone as well. Simon was seeking a timing, but now he is just fully committed once more into the corner. Chichu responds, vacuuming up that space, but he's traded, and that discipline rearing his head, the G2. He was singing their praises, expecting that level of play from them. It will grant them at least a round winner. It looks towards it. I mean, there's no real chances for Smoggy in this spot.
There shouldn't be an opening. And I do like that you highlighted that discipline, because you could see that spacing super, super tight.
There it is.
Beautiful as well, again there,
yeah.
As Trent swings, freezing that player in spot so that Jonah P can get the backstab. G2 were trying to do these things earlier on, and the individual ism from EDG was shutting them down. They were also slightly off, just ever so slightly, in terms of those multiple swings and timings. I mean, there's a pretty big difference between getting 2 players, one trying to trade, and Simon there getting swung with 4 at once.
I heard the crowd go, oh.
Shh, keep it down.
Oh.
I mean, you can't ask the crowd not to react when you bungle something at the beginning of the round, man. They're just gonna do that.
That's funny.
That
EDG.
is funny.
Lighter weaponry here. Went for an attempt. Nobody will not give up this space either. In fact, the rest of EDG alongside him. Very pushed up through A main. Looking for a play. With the peak though. Turret did not get broken.
Yeah, both turrets actually staying alive throughout this round. The weaponry doesn't really seem good enough here, but if Chichu can bait so that they don't think about Smoggy.
And also, I mean, EDG have got the hardest read in the world, of course, with Kankan getting all this space. Now he does get dropped here, but a pop flash play. Already going to be going live and active into it. Phantoms in hand. Jonah P will offset most of it.
Yeah, amazing from Jonah P again. There are a lot of threats in that round that EDG throw out. I mean, obviously there's Kankan on the flank, which LEV shuts down, but like I said, that duo play between either Chishu and Simon, and then trying to set up Smoggy, who had the stinger. Jonah just swings kind of behind a few of the rest of his pack and takes them both down. He's anti-flash, deals with them really nicely there. But Valen did use Reckoning, so they're not saving big ultimates for big moments. They used the Thrash when they were in a 5v3. They used the Reckoning on an anti-eco. They're not feeling comfortable enough here, G2, to save the ults for when it matters. And right now, this round really matters.
I can't blame them. EDG are up to 11, but you are right. Sometimes you have to
take flight,
stretch whatever resources you have. Really quite thin. Drone tags onto the one with a Dizzy as well, so nobody knows that there's two players here. Despite that fact, he's not backing away. Wants to take the up-close angle.
These are the kind of moments where it worries me that nobody is playing aggressively like this, because again, you're 5 rounds up, you actually don't need to take these kind of risks. But maybe a risk like this will end up putting them over the line.
Just feed waiting to happen, Trent. Okay, drone's going to be used as well, so nobody will get the hell out of there. Lockdown's going to be used as a response to this. EDG going to be...
They have Overwatch.
Yeah, there's a Overwatch to break this one, so... Someone to break that fast as well. Plant down from Icy with the wingman dropped, so at least get themselves into the post plant. They've got plenty more util where that came from as well.
Look at Jonah P out here on B, by the way.
He's going to be trying to wrap this one while nobody's way ahead of the rest of his team as well. So with him drop, first kill advantage gone away. And honestly, the fight might just be over before Jonah P even gets into the fray. Icy. 3 on the board, there's 2 plays left to stand. You know the maths. Adds up to potentially an ace, but not anymore. Jonah P finally strikes right from behind there, so all the timing's taken. And Icy's just running his body in, based on the end of a stick.
Jonah P got up to the Viper's Pit, and Icy's not too far away from Thrash now as well after he popped off in that round. He's only 1 away. So after my criticism of how G2 were using their ults, they've actually just managed to win an incredibly crucial round, fairly dry, to get the ult cycle working again. And as much as we were talking about, EDG massively in the lead.
Weird play this round.
EDG are going to take attack timeout, and you hear Trent already calling it out there. He's expecting something unusual. Something that's going to knock G2 off their game to push them over the edge. I could absolutely see that. I mean, Kangkang also has Blade Storm.
Yeah.
If there was going to be any round where Kangkang's going to dig a tunnel and pop up behind you or something, some kind of weird thing that Haodong's cooked up.
Yep, certainly.
Would be this one. Yeah, but what I was going to say was G2 are actually starting to make this look reasonable. The gap's down to 4. They've just won 4 in a row. And we're starting to see Valen really heat up with his attack side call and getting a nice read on what's happening in the game. So,
how many rounds do G2 need before you start to become a bit of a believer?
Only 1 more rifle round.
1 more rifle round?
Yeah,
so if
absolutely.
If they
win this and win the next rifle round, it's 11 to 9. Probably EDG have used a lot of their ults, and then it's insanely, it is game on at that point. Obviously, 2 more rounds is not the easiest thing in the world for G2 to be able to string together. That would be 6 in a row. But let's keep our focus in the here and now, because Trent was expecting something silly, something weird.
About to find out if EDG have been cooking with it. As you mentioned, there's a Blade Storm here in the mix for Kangkang. Gonna be holding on to this one. The defensive setup, though, hasn't really shifted that much. I mean, EDG not going for any stacks onto various sites here, just going for the same old, same old. It's just nobody playing over towards A, mid, knocked down by Chichu.
They're keeping a very confident read that G2 do not go A early on. You see that the A site is pretty open almost all the time. It's only nobody holding towards there. This looks like very specific prep they've done against G2 on Icebox.
Yeah.
And thus far it's been all right, but G2 have done great with the space that they've taken on A. They're so patient here, G2, waiting for that aggression, but EDG also matching them bar for bar with the patience.
Yeah, right down to that minute mark. And through mid, Chichu wants to take the peak. Why committal? No heads to be popped.
You can't allow the time to run too low here if you're Valen, because nobody has that Hunter's Fury.
Seeing that pressure as well, might be calling for a few bodies moving over towards them. Not too much shift though occurring. In fact, EDG are kind of scattered to the wind right now. In fact, making the rotations over towards A. And here's the danger zone that you were talking about right now, Josh. Nobody.
I think play off site here, play for your ult.
Yeah, but he's not intending to do that one. I see what the plans. Already 7 forwards need to be defended. It's not. And already broken. Nobody in Chichu. They strike from the sides to pincer play. Double pronged in the approach. And guess what? It's worked out fully in the favor. The flash repeat again in the refight here with the rifles. They're going to try and sail their way through this course, but already it's tumultuous indeed. Time running them down, and a thrifty win to get EDG up to that 12.
G2 were ready for it. G2 knew it was coming, and yet they still could not stop it. Ran perfectly into that read. EDG had 4 players rotating over to the A side, only Kong on the other side of the map, before the plant was even anywhere near ready to go down. The patience from G2 ended up being their worst enemy there. Time was not on their side. And now, whereas it looked like those 4 in a row were going to set a comeback on the path for G2, suddenly EDG won away.
As I said earlier as well, it's the case when you get up to that 11th, you know, all it takes is one thrifty, a swift breeze to knock you over the finish line here for EDG, because just need that one. The pressure is on the shoulders of G2 right now. Once more, playing it slow initially here, but now waiting it out and taking a main control. They have ults to use and spend, but EDG are ready for this one. There's a knife held into the hand as well with the drone, and to the thrash is going to be cancelled almost immediately, and nobody is right in their faces. A flash and an overhead. Simon is swinging wildly into them and still returns with 2. Just before that trade comes up, with 2 left to stand from G2 themselves. Dizzy, drone, I believe, spotting both. And this is a disaster for G2 here. Individual is going to have to bail them out of this spot. 50 seconds, you can afford to slow it all the way down to a crawl if you want to, but couldn't have asked for a better beginning to the round here for EDG.
No, they're looking good for it. Nobody tucking himself into Generator. Is this a spot that G2 can even afford to clear? This setup looks nice from Nobody and Chishu.
Gets a crossfire. Dart though, that's not broken. Trent though, he's going to be dropped and damage done straight through the wall. Wingman broken once more. Icy. It's the K down, a tap, forcing them forwards into the fight as well. Needs to try and isolate some of these fights. Done so, 1v1, all to survive, Icy! It's only gone and done it!
It's survival! That's what that means for G2. My God, did it take everything from them. EDG's setup looked really solid on site there. They've been breaking these wingmans very consistently when they've been coming into A. Thrash was irretrievable. Didn't make a difference in the round at all, and yet Icy didn't need it. Great kills towards the end, and fantastic fake plants for him to be able to get up into a position to win that.
You can't argue with that.
Leaf is picking up an attack side op to try to make something happen. 4 chances remain for EDG to close.
Kang himself wants to go with things. Dash was activated off the back of that util. It's going to be fading away though. Still an aggressive off angle that he's committed to. And Chichu going re-exploring into mid. He hasn't been punished for these peeks onto the turret up until now.
Did he get a spot to know that Leaf is playing with an attack side op as well? No idea. Nobody looks like he wants to take another swing at this. They still have the turret up for mid information, but they're so hungry for it.
Yeah. Difficulties here for ED, or for G2 I should say, is don't want to be running into the same problems that opened you up for the thrifty loss earlier. Got EDG up to 12, with time becoming an issue once more potentially. Drone up and over, the nice is dodged, only tagging onto the 1 as well, might be a bit of that false information. Oh, underhanded Simon is eager for the scrap. Does come up with the 1. Is he going to be into his face as well? Plenty of targets up and over. Jonah P just did not know which way to adjust. And this is it, surely. The impetus to take away this map. Nanoswarm's at your feet, Detted, ready and waiting. Trent is spotted, taken out, swinging wide. Simon denied, but not enough to deny Icy that one. Still 13-8 for the finish. EDG, they get it over that finish line. An Icebox is theirs.
An incredible map to open things up in this series. EDG want the win. They've taken a massive scalp there by taking Icebox away, and it's their brand new player Simon that closes things out.
Phenomenal stuff from EDG all throughout the map as well. Absolutely deserved. And now it's shaky ground and territory as we look forwards to Haven. Map 2 for G2.
sleep. I ain't trying to live broke like you be. I've been coming for the bag, I do me. Will I get paid? Absolutely. Cause you better knew a boss like take off. I ain't left all bad and bougie. Heard them talk, they barely knew me. I ain't let no stranger fool me. When I came in the game, y'all showing that fake love. I ain't look past your jewelry. Let it ride, it's foreign. Every whip I drive imported. Anybody know me, they know. For this game, no, I'm dying for it. I'm on now, give me that crown, yeah. Ain't nobody out here really wanting with me. I'm going hard while you falling asleep. I got it all cause I deserve it all, y'all. Just being honest, they don't wanna see me honest. I'm taking over this game now and that's a promise. They out of pocket, they don't wanna believe I got it. Give me that crown now cause I'm the king, call me your highness.
It's a great day to be a fan of VCTC, and I'm now joined by the head coach of EDG, Muggle, and Luna here to do some translations as well. Now, I've heard a lot of discourse that looking at EDG this time around is giving the same feeling as you guys back in Masters Tokyo. And of course, at Shanghai, you guys underperformed a little bit. So how did you guys manage to turn things around and look this good in the space of time that you guys have had?
很多人都说觉得这次的 EDG 有一些回到东京大师赛的那个感觉了。那在上海大师赛可能表现并没有那么的达到预期，但是现在你们表现得这么的好，是做了哪些调整呢？
进行了一些记忆阻断练习吧，就是忘掉某一些我们后面可能学习的太杂七杂八的东西，然后回归这个游戏最本身的玩法。
I think we're trying to forget that kind of things really like make us be chaotic. Just go back to the pure game.
Oh, thank you very much, Luna. Thank you very much, Muggle. Best of luck on map 2.
Welcome back, everyone, and guys, it's happening! Oh no! Listen here, as the host of VCT Americas, let me just say for a minute, today's a dark day in our history. But hey, we're not out of the woods yet, right? I'm not selling out my boys in G2 quite yet here, but we got to talk about EDG because obviously not only did they win, they dominated, they looked great, they had their number, they shut them down round after round. I mean, Paperton, this was clinical from them.
No, I'm very, very impressed here with the game plan from EDG in that they get to the post plants, and what would normally happen with Paper X, they're sitting way back. Like, their furthest forward player on a site is on a nest, and then they're like dice and then on the back.
Yeah.
They're getting ahead of that. They're pushing screens. They're trying to contest G2 when they're trying to cut in towards the site, and they're cutting players down on the way through, and that's what started to snowball their success. Snowball these rounds, and then when they'd get a little bit spicier, when they'd start to get the mud flowing, is when they get a few of those opening kills, and then they'd start pushing.
Join me in the mud. Right. No, but I will say, though, what Coach Muggle said, I mean, they played beautifully. That wasn't money at all. I actually quite enjoyed everything that I was seeing from the Achilleos.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple scary moments where there was a run back happening, but I want to highlight Kong and Smoggy because from the outset, to be able to get that 9-3 half to start things off, it was widely on the backs of these two players with some really excellent setups from the likes of Simon as well, whose util usage was very much on point. But Kong and Smoggy, they were doing the heavy fragging in that first half. They got them that advantage, which then made it a little bit easier to close things out on the defending side. G2 trying to make it happen. It looked like we were going to be going into an OT for a little bit there, but ultimately, EDG were able to put their foot down, and this is a fantastic way for them to kick off this series as, again, G2's map pick.
Yeah, 100%, man. What a way to start off for them. And something we do got to note real fast is, a big win condition for this G2 lineup has been Leaf for a very long time. And what he brings to the table on the lurks and how he plays around the map effectively, he was utterly shut down. He had little impact, which, I mean, that seems like a key to victory for them here.
I mean, I kind of talked about it, what we were seeing from them over at Shanghai when G2 were having their struggles, when they were dropping games. It's when Leaf wasn't able to find that impact. But similarly, we saw some struggles from the likes of Trent, who's normally very much on point when it comes down to those Sova Dart lineups, but we saw a couple of them trying to interrupt those plants in that first half, going wide, not really landing on the mark whatsoever. So things like that need to be tightened up. However, as we have seen from G2 over in Shanghai, drop a map, get the download complete, come back in and dominate the series. That's still very possible here.
Yeah, very true, very true. All right, well, let's go ahead and cool down on the existential dread of being America's fan for a second here and just look at some bingo. We got some stuff to fill out here. So we got Icy gets first kill. Congratulations, Icy. You are very good at the game. And then we have Valen 3K. Ahí también. And then we get a tech pause. So, just make fun of ourselves sometime. We're so close. G2, brother, come on. You got to clutch it out.
G2 just needs to win a match.
I mean, if G2 can get the win,
G2.
If Clove gets picked at all, or, there's a couple different things.
Team Ace would help.
We're hoping for the G2 map win so we can get bingo.
I think it has to be the series one.
Oh, it doesn't? We'll
otherwise
numbers.
we would have put in the EDG win.
That's just too much time. In any case, let's go ahead and hear what Josh RT has to say as we get ready for map 2.
I'm standing by with G2's head coach Josh RT ahead of map 2. Now, we're going to Haven, and Haven is not really a map that we've seen you guys play a lot of in official, so without leaking anything, what can we expect from you guys?
I think we're going to have a much better performance this time around. I mean, we just experienced some tech issues in the first game, but moving past that, you're going to see a new Haven coming up. I think it'll surprise them a little bit, and we'll bring it to map 3.
Thank you very much. We love new stuff. Good luck.
Okay, a new Haven. Brother, I'm in. Okay, sell me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's too shocking. This has been a very middling map for them overall. They've only played it twice and have a 50% win rate here in 2024 on that map. So doing something new, I don't think is going to be the biggest surprise.
Yeah, I mean, they were just running the stock standard Haven comp, right? Like the breach and everything that you would normally go, the KO, Sova, all that stuff. So this is going to be interesting. If he says they have something new cooked up, what does that mean?
That worries me.
Do we have a Neon in there, maybe? A lot of teams are leading into Neon comps.
Whoa! Okay.
Or the Yoru. That's the other one.
Okay. And Kong, of course, going to be playing that Neon, so look for him to get real big impact with that.
Yeah, I mean, but this puts a lot more weight on Icy's shoulders as that Yoru, as that solo duelist here needs to be really smart about his timings because we've seen so many teams struggle with just solo entry Yoru, whereas the Neon, that's something that can go in and very much take over games.
Yeah, but this is a comp that Fnatic runs very, very well on this map, or very similar at least with the Yoru, so they've definitely got some good ideas to base it off of. You've got the Viper in there now as well, so you can use those walls to kind of obscure what you're trying to do with the Yoru a little bit better and things like that. So I'm really curious to see how this is going to work for G2. They've had some time to cook. This could be pretty spicy.
Yeah, there's a lot of confidence going into this one, right? If you're G2, you put all your eggs into this basket and it better pay off. Can they force a map 3? Let's send it back over to your casters, Bren and Sideshow.
Thank you very much, guys. Yeah, it's a lot resting on the shoulders of these G2 players that this gambit, and I'm sure that they put time into, at least with this composition on Haven, but the fact that it needs to pay off here because you've already started a map down. It's unorthodox for sure.
And EDG's actually looking really competent on this map. I liked what I was seeing from them.
Hard agree.
EDG are going into the defense side here of Haven with a chance for another big win for China. Their flood defense on this map is beautiful to watch. They also fight super hard over A lobby, so whoever's job it is to try to lurk down behind that Viper wall, good luck to you, buddy.
Yeah. It's a gate crash, though. It's dropped down, so I see feigning and faking that they're going for this A pressure. It's going to keep most of these EDG players at least tethered to the spot.
Actually, both teams faking here because EDG were making it look like it was only nobody playing A when suddenly there's 4 players over in that side of the map.
Both teams trying to obfuscate their intent here. The now Swarm dropped down! Hot feet there for Leaf. Unable to really rest the steady hands there for the kill onto Chichu, but catching this in theory and at least in practice too. Trent does get that kill. So Kang down as a 4 versus 4. Spike planted for G2. Over that re-exploration in through Garage. Chichu, 40 health, will be dropped. He's looking to put the squeeze of the rest of his team onto these players here. Icy still comes up with one just before the trade, but they're missing these timings onto one another. And now just 2 against the 3. G2 have got to try and hold this one back here. Util in the back pocket. Simon's got that fault line. It's going to be let loose along with the paranoia in through the back. Valen could not stand a chance against it. And you know where the last is. Jonah P is no more. Another pistol round here for EDG. We were highlighting the ideas that they had coming into this map. They look well drilled on Haven. That's why it's that scary, tumultuous territory here for G2. It's a map that they haven't looked too hard at. You know, they've had to experiment. They've had to run different compositions, at least here and now. But for EDG, you're going to start to see a lot more of that, I think.
You know as well that Jonah P uses his orb to place that over towards spawn and make the retake very difficult. Where did EDG come from? From the flank, from Garage. Only Chishu, the only player coming from spawn. All of the others went on the flank. EDG know how to play against this composition. You can tell right from the pistol round that they're comfortable playing against Viper comps.
Smoggy potentially going to be tested here. It's just G2 feigning like they are. They want to grab an orb, see if they can pull a few players out of position, maybe get a kill. Meanwhile, full lobby control. Nobody's holding onto the drone like, do I use it? What's going on?
Playing aggressively like this is really, really strong against this Viper wall. It's aggressive. It can be punished in other ways.
Just bonkers, though. I mean, going for the flash re-clear. Wow. The crossfire's already been set up, and it's a gun given away, but Leafy's got his back wide open, so Simon will happily take that time in against him. Aftershock is good, too. In through the back, Icy trying to TP and make a play happen, but it's a second one now crewed up here for EDG. Too much damage and danger into it. It still keeps 3 of these players intact. With at least a few of the guns.
They're doing fine, though. There was 2 players that didn't even buy into that round, so they kept all 3 pieces of weaponry. They're doing fine. EDG's bonus is going to be very potent.
There.
And we've yet to really see G2 a good opportunity to get in.
That goes there.
It is going to be tough for Icy to get into position. Paperthin made the comparison to Fnatic's composition, but Fnatic's comp, the Yoru makes space for an ISO. That doesn't exist here. Someone else on G2 has got to step up. Probably Valen going in and trading these out.
The soundbait here out towards A lobby.
Still making it feel like it's only nobody home on A.
That fault line still being held by Simon. A little bit of mid-rounder, making sure that they can break some of this util. It's drone forwards and through B. All the trip's going to be dealt with here. We're barely down into the minute mark.
It's good defaulting.
Oh, Simon, what are you going for here? You silly Billy. Dropped, man. He's taking risks to try and get that mid-round information. Stun connects, but leaves covering over the shoulder. All it takes is a few bullets to drop down Kang.
That is an enormous risk. Just a hard read that G2 were going back and going into an A exec.
Smoggy barely spotting the shoulder on either side here. He is the one in danger. So at the end of the day, you got to take risks. It's a good paranoia. Doesn't connect onto too many more of them as well. They want to make a good go of things here, but Trent's going to be swinging this with the might of the rest of his team, and they do put a stop to any sort of bonus round aggression.
That's a lot of economic damage done towards the end there, though. I mean, considering the way that this started with G2 fully in control, map control all over the place, breaking all of the Cypher utility, like very good slow defaulting, the thing that you come to expect from G2. and it baits out that push from Simon, which was absolutely ill-advised. Considering that's how the round began, the fact that they've done serious damage to the economy.
It's not too bad.
Light armor on 3, Bulldogs on 2. That's a really solid bonus in the end, results-wise, for EDG.
Toxins going up.
Probably going to be seeing more of the same here from G2. Real cautious at the beginning. EDG fully disrespecting A lobby, just walking all the way up. Now they hear the Euro all popped up, and G2, he wants nothing to do with it. Orb over the top as well, it's just straight from the lineup, but EDG player is going to be trying to evacuate into the arms of Leaf. Already sucked up position in through garage here. They hear the footsteps as well. EDG just crossed up, nobody not expecting, like Leaf could already have repositioned there. Fake into the TP, Kang. Not going to be setting his eyes there for long, but not also going to be winning out the fight. He's going to be dropped. And at this point, with just Simon and Smoggy left alive, forced to save these rifles.
And Simon's petrified. He thinks that Leaf is going to be coming around behind him. In his head there, Leaf was just pushing out garage, and Leaf is going to be popping out of, you know, window or pushing around behind him. He thinks he's fully stuck in that spot. Now, obviously, we can tell that Leaf had decided not to take that particular snack and had gone off in a different direction to make sure that the post plant was secure in other areas. But yeah, EDG getting a little stressed out in these final 2 rounds with the correct ways to respond to things. It was a beautiful insert, though, from Valens calling to get Leaf into that garage window position. That was lovely. But what we've seen from EDG in China is that they enjoyed flood defending on C. And that means that Chishu, Smoggy would hold their ground on C, anchor the site, and other people would come in to reinforce that. Now, I think one of the reasons that they are feeling like they can't do that here is because they've got 3 people defending A very late into the round, because they can never be sure that A is clear. You watch the way that EDG defend on the A site, they're holding the fault line, they're holding the stuns, they're not actually going for early round flushing out A lobby.
Valens walked straight past, there's no TP necessary, nobody punished for the hubris. Yes, it is these weaker weapons in the hands of these EDG players, and they want to try and make usage of them, but to their own dismay.
Spike drop. Time to jump. Decoy.
Yeah, I think you're right on the money as well, talking about that kind of push and pull from EDG, where the defense onto A, it's going to be weaker. Kind of looking to do some damage.
Yeah, it's not necessarily weak, it's slow. I think that's the biggest issue that EDG are currently having. In an ideal world, they would want to flush out A lobby, clear it out, and then get back to doing what they're doing on the rest of the map.
G2 just going to be looking to get some players out alive, although Leaf might want to go hunting. 2 away from a pretty big ult. He's the one watching the flank though, and money is booming, so don't really have to worry too much about losing some of these guns. Taking Jiggle, Silent spotted, taken out. And Kang's last one left, right through the wall.
And to add some additional context to G2's Haven, we haven't seen it very much this year.
No.
We've only seen it twice, I believe. Both times playing this over Breach Comp, which was a surprise to us. Because when G2 were playing in Tier 2 under the Guard, they were known for pushing forward this Viper Omen composition and really selling new ideas and ways of playing it. I believe they invented this version of the Viper Wall as well, whereas other teams were using one that goes over towards the A spawn connector. A lot of other teams stealing their ideas, loving the way that Jonah P and Valen were playing on this map.
You're already seeing the difficulties for EDG to get a handle on that A lobby control. Unless they fully commit with bodies and a bit of utility to clear it out early. The Viper Wall.
Deploying drone.
Yeah, I think nobody needs to be using his drone from short to clear out that area while someone else jiggle spots A long. This is a mistake I think that a lot of people make against this Viper. Certainly one the Sentinels made when they were playing.
G2 right now, they're fishing for a couple of ults to be used, misused by EDG. They've got a lot in their back pocket. See the tap of the orb, that was the intent of it, to see if they had those protocols to
Both flashes have been used already on A, just to re-clear for information. And there are still 3 players deeply committed to the A site at 50 seconds on the clock. They're not ready to flood defend into B right now. Now they're starting to get a move on. Now they're starting to get here.
Fault line's good. Aftershock even better. Will be able to get themselves out of there with the util. Yes, at least now the rolling thunder clears it, but it's an open and empty side at the end of the day. Kang. It's like tap. Forces out the first wave of things, which happens to be the bullets. Snakebite laid out on top. All alongside it. All grouped up. There needs to be an extra element here from EDG if they want to try and navigate this spot and situation. It's a drone out and through. It's going to get that tag onto Valen. Going to be util used to clear him out here. Wall blocking the way, but holding it down out through garage. And whipping the rifle around, spraying. Not quite praying. It was all quite precise at the end of the day here for G2, but very well organized and navigated. As I said prior, I mean, a lot of ults to try and deal with and get through there to even get themselves into a plant position.
And they didn't bait any of them out. I mean, in terms of the post-plant ultimates, sorry. The ultimates that G2 had in their back pocket to make that post-plant a checkmate situation, they didn't even have to use them. Specifically the Hunter's Fury, but Leaf with the kills even got his lockdown online. That's going to be another amazing one to add to the arsenal. So, tack timeout called here by EDG. They've got to figure out how to stop the Rock, because this is now 4 rounds in a row, likely 5 in a row, and they've used that breach ult. There wasn't really a push down mid there going on.
No.
There haven't been any opportunities for them to push up aggressively on C or A. They tried once to get Nobody and Kang on a deeper line in A lobby, but when that didn't work and the flank didn't pay off, it seems like they've been disinclined to go for it again. And unfortunately, what that means is G2 have just got their run of the map. Right now, it's almost like there's no defense for the first minute of the round as long as they don't go into a site. They can go garage, they can go down short, they can go up mid as long as they don't go into B. They're not getting contested.
No. Free reign to just break all the util passively laid out across the map here, so Chichu's trips, there's no play off of them most of the time when they're getting broken.
He must be having a nightmare as well. He keeps buying all of this utility and then it just gets broken.
Yeah. Within the first 40 seconds, G2 just taking their time with that one. And this entire comp of EDG, it really relies, I think, on either following the noise cues or knowing exactly where the hits are coming through so they can either flood defend, help some anchoring players, but when it's getting slow to a crawl like this by G2, they're forced to spread their players out, and you can't really play to the advantages of the composition. Here's a bit of a push, looking like they're trying to feign, like they're fighting over A lobby, at least with the early stun, and Kang is immediately getting the hell out of there, but it's just a cheeky play. Throw out there when your money's a little bit weaker.
At least this time, though, they also have Nobody posted up with a Marshal, so this is going to allow them to rotate other people off. You know, this line that he's on is going to allow the defenders to stack more over towards C rather than keeping those 3 cemented on A. This is the kind of thing they could maybe try to add into their rifle rounds.
Oh, Valen, oh my, nobody's catching the contact. I also heard the ult popped off into the background. That's Kang using it, but already understands that the rotations have to be coming through fast at it. Nobody's going to need some help now. He's going to be swarmed into this short position. Oh, still there, but it's going to be running short. Kills need to be found from it. The stun is almost perfect. Yes, indeed it is. There's that util that we're talking about. They've got spades of it to try and refight those areas, and what a time to do it. And Trent. Oh my. 30 seconds left into the round, but surely you can't do it in a 1v3.
30 seconds left.
Spike hard committed into the middle of nowhere. EDG's eye set on it.
Too little time on the clock, surely.
Yeah, no, there's no way. Unless there's a weakness that crops up here for EDG, but they just catch it. The contact as Trent was sneaking around. So there's a thrifty win to put them onto the board.
And that's what EDG have been looking for the entire game, is that setup between getting aggressive on people as they're executing with some breach util. That couldn't have been better from Simon. These players are just stunned up, unable to do a thing. Valen's the only one that could have bailed them out of that situation. And he whiffed and also had Leaf jumping around in his face. Couldn't even see the player that he was shooting at, really. Small bump in the road there for G2, but if they get right back on things here with like a Euro ult, Sover ult kind of combo, then they won't be too worried about dropping it. Kang looks to disrupt.
Just holding time as well, but that turret's going to be dropped down. Kang, you are right into the middle of nowhere, using both the glides, but he just cannot escape.
from the fight that G2 were just squaring up to.
He knows he has to get aggressive in that spot, though, because if you just let G2 fight, that ult combo is going to be deadly.
That's all occurring in the first 30 seconds. Nobody now will be using that drone to clear up and through into short. Don't believe it's spotted onto IC. EDG's defensive setup again has to scatter. Losing Kang. Player's going to be spread thin. Nobody getting that tag as well. And you're going to be hearing that Euro ult popped off now. Corners are cleared by IC. Nobody going for, again, that re-exploration. It's a risky play that does not pay off for him.
EDG will go for it just to, you know, poke, prod, see if they can get a pick. But if they can't, this is looking like a save round already. But
Simon's missed.
With a couple kills, with one or two, suddenly it becomes worth going for.
Especially with the damage done to Trent already. Simon's got, again, that util ready. Valen, though, holding the paranoia. It's going to be using this one pound for pound, unless you have a plan around it. There's the blind and there's the smoke. Already down and out here. Time is going to start to tick here for EDG. Smoggy waiting for his win con to try and play himself into this spot. Blinded up matters not, at least for G2. Got that discipline, making sure to play together as a pack.
And it only hurts the economy there of Simon. I mean, he's the player with 250 credits that might be feeling the squeeze a little bit. The others might be able to scrap together a buy. We'll see what decision they end up coming to. But yeah, that's the reason that Kangkang goes so aggressive at the start of the round. If you allow G2 to get into a spot, they're just going to Yoru ult. If the Yoru spots somebody on site, they can Solver ult afterwards. Very difficult to dodge that. Lockdown also to try to open up sites. They've just built up such big ult combos that they can use here to try to close out this half. We're in round 9 already. And EDG have actually ended up going for a half buy. They chose not to force.
The economy's gone a bit skew with.
That was the danger of committing to the retake. That's why I said it might have just been a save round, but they were baited into going for it after that pick on Leaf in mid.
Smoggy's going to be priming the paranoia. Kangkang with deep control out towards C as well. There's a lot of information to give the rest of EDG, knowing that G2 are just sitting pretty. Or potentially giving up most of mid control. Thrown out. Used pound for pound again. Broken, taken out. Smoggy still holding, spammed, expected. Heads up play by G2. And they don't overcommit into it. Instead, walking over. Kangkang's at an off angle. All he needs is the one kill, but running way ahead of it. It's a flash, or at least a stun, at least to play himself out, and he's done so with perfection. Nobody right from behind as well, making sure that this is really putting a squeeze down. That's ludicrous.
EDG and winning thrifty rounds. Iconic. Also, I am loving these fault lines from Simon. Oh my God, they're coming from Narnia.
He's cooking.
Straight out the wardrobe. I mean, he is miles away when he's throwing these. Take a look at this.
Yeah.
Have a look at the minimap and see where he is. He's on B.
And he's throwing that one out.
He's
Make sure that nobody can swing off of Trent.
Yeah. There's no... Trent jumps through there, and his movement indicates somebody on G2 is supposed to trade that out. They can't. They're stunned. Another beautiful moment from Simon with his supportive utility. It won't really show in the stats, but you can see it here. It's been a number of rounds now since Leaf has had this lockdown online. They could have tried to build around, trying to get it into a position, you know, deep down short, tuck it into Bunny. But instead he's been covering the flank.
Yeah, never really in a position to use it. Might be getting challenged soon.
Yeah, that flank coverage may be coming through in this round.
No one's watching this. Nothing to take point and contact from it. The players have already pushed up from G2 straight into mid with the drone. Again, they are none the wiser. 3 players now. Kangkang leading the charge as the spearhead for the team and striking right where it hurts. It's G2. You're going to be left reeling, and you have to pivot. You have to hard react now into the A site. It's the only option open. But already they've got these kill trip setups, and Smoggy's already repositioned. The reinforcements have arrived at that. An ult committed up onto the high ground. This is an awkward position for G2 to be into. Jonapi with a plan, but he's pushed back and away from it with the damage done onto all of them. And already tagged up, a kill to be claimed. Jonapi dropped. Valen is right there at him. Kangkang going to be found. Simon's right from behind. Again putting the squeeze.
and just not expecting it.
EDG are coming out with some brilliant, unexpected moves to turn the tide of this map completely. The rounds that they've won have not been based off having some immaculate defense. It's been based off putting people in unexpected positions. Kang tucks down into a spot. Simon stuns off the back of it. This round, they get a triple push coming out of C. They're finding the gaps in G2's expectation and G2's literal gaps in their defenses, if you want to talk about that round. Slipping in behind Leaf. A timeout call for G2. I think they could have been fast playing some of these ults. At this point, I mean, you're not going to get them back in the half.
No.
Right? So it comes down to finding the right moment for them. But
I mean, you got them so early on, you're basically going to get one ult per half at this point.
Yeah. Are you going to really be able to find moments to use Lockdown, Hunter's Fury, and Viper's Pit all in one round?
Yeah.
Probably not. That's why I was advocating for using them in round 9, round 10, maybe even earlier. But all right. It's 5 apiece. EDG balloons slightly with the win of the pistol, but still with a nice comeback here to even things up. G2 with a scrappy buy, but they are going to force.
Okay. In the danger zone potentially, but there's only 2 rounds left to play for in this first half.
The Guardian and the Bulldog are not great in these kind of spots.
What are they going to go for? As you mentioned, they haven't gone quick into really any of these rounds. Could be trying offset against the conditioning that they've been laying down, which is that slow play, but maybe that will get read by EDG.
If they do increase the tempo, Kang is on the wrong side of the map. But no, G2 decide to play this one pretty similarly to the rest of their rounds. Slowly. There's that alarm bot over towards C. Not sure what happened with the alarm bot in the previous round. I wasn't paying attention to it. So that's going to stop any kind of push now from happening.
Through spots outmost. It's the trip here for the defensive setup. Kang's at the up though. Great line of sight. Good awareness though from G2, already jump spotting this one with the smoke in their face to try and feign like they're crossed up here. But the lockdown's not going to be stretching into the back section of this C site. And Kang will be able to hold his ground, stand it down. Hunter's Fury now into the corner. That is a nice set play. Haven't seen that one in quite some time. Reminiscent of EG on Fracture back in the day. I see we'll be able to get that plant down as a result of that one. So baiting him in, but he hadn't cleared Smoggy, but the trade is intact. And there, Valen rewarded with it. That patience that's being played, and with the pit drop down into the back. Jiju's desperately hunting for the neural theft. He does get it off and stays alive. But what can EDG do with that information? Stun into the corner again. Global util, it's been good. Trent is basically dead to rights. Indeed, cleaned up just from that utility time. Might start to become a problem. Spike's ticking away. Chichu with another one. Pit's still up though. Gotta worry about this one.
It's not planted for the pit.
Yeah, it's playing out wide here to tap. Knows he's not playing onto the contact. Jonah P is going to be weaving in and out. Still going to be coverage. There he jumps around the corner, but it's Simon who saves the bloody day. No! Oh, time getting away. 0.36.
That's a ridiculous situation because there wasn't a player on G2 there that really slowed that down. EDG probably could have played that half a second quicker and still had the same result. I mean, you know, Valen maybe slows things down just a slight amount, but it's all just based on when Chichu gets on that defuse.
Oh, it's a heartbreak.
It wasn't quite there early enough. Final round of the half. Feels like EDG could have had that one in the bag. Simon with a big breach ult risks his life slightly.
Just trying to set Kang into the appropriate spot. I see. Spam down into the corner here. Smoggy though is going to be going down. Valen will not leave that one uncontested. Nobody. Steep tucked Paranoia is going to be dodging. But at least with the draw, no way! Backstabs in play. Kang with all that positioning. 6-6. That is an explosive finish to the first half of Haven.
And one more situation where EDG find the gap. Bait them into a big fight in short, walk down mid. Kang is right there for the backstab. It looked like G2 had all of their pieces prettily set up throughout this half. Yeah, EDG have still responded.
Salvaged it, man, just from the scraps as well. Forged the path to 6-6, and still, you got to think it's anyone's game.
gives you wings.
Cover me, cover me, cover me.
It's not defeat that defines you. It's how you bounce back. Reach your impossible. Lenovo Legion.
Finish here. I mean, this is looking like G2 were in complete control, to be honest, at the beginning. It was only EDG grabbing that pistol round, but the thrifty win on round 7 and a string of rounds that really followed as well, just from that lack of respect that
including
EDG was
another
showing.
thrifty.
Yeah. That's what paled them out, you know. That's the thing that got them going up to that 6-6 half now, heading into the second half of Haven. And expectations, again, kind of a skew whiffed. EDG, what we do know about this team is that their execs are nasty good, very well drilled and tempered. And they're going to be putting that pressure and applying it straight to a lot of these G2 players.
Yeah, EDG actually found success there in a very different way to the way that they were winning in China. And I think that's a sign of a team that's doing well on the global stage, where you're able to take not just your strengths that we're getting you across the line against the Chinese teams, but being able to adapt to what's put in front of you, realizing if we just fight these guys straight up, we're losing the macro game, and realizing that you need to take risks, find those moments to push on defense, to get yourselves tucked into one-and-dones and then bailing yourselves out with the breach util. All of those plays that were crafted, probably on the fly, worked out really, really nicely. I think the pressure is all on G2 here. All on them. And that might seem a little unusual if you're not familiar with Valorant, because, you know, G2 are not the top seed coming out from Americas, but they did very well in Shanghai.
Oh, yeah.
They felt like they choked the finals in Americas. They felt like they should have been lifting that trophy. And historically, the Chinese teams have just never really been able to crack the big time, save one, which was EDG at Tokyo. And they're barreling down A-Long, looking to put on a performance like that again.
A win over G2 would certainly set that kind of tempo and pace forward. It's going to be util used. Responded by G2 to try and push back this long aggression.
A bit of a team flash there.
Yeah.
A rough one that might have just saved G2 a little from that opening exec. They still have paranoia. That didn't even get baited out.
Nicely sitting with another flash in the back pocket.
5 seconds until the fault line comes back and the recon.
So the timing's been weighted out, so EDG do have that util now to make another go with it. The smoke in short is causing problems. Kangkang's just going to just walking straight through it. No util to clear. He's lucky again to be alive. There was no damage really. Lay it down onto him here. There's 45 seconds left. Again, the dart at their backs. Recon going to be broken, still lighting them up enough, and the crossfire setups are definitely enough. G2 didn't budge, didn't get rooted away from this spot. Trent delivers a 4-piece to set the stage here in the second half of Haven.
Fantastic paranoia as well from Valen. Didn't get baited out with that first wave of utility because of the miscoordination between Simon and Kangkang. So then when it's available towards the end, blinds everyone that could have followed up, and Kangkang gets chopped down by that crossfire. Valen and Trent there, you know, really nicely able to catch the duelist. Everyone else also is basically swinging through this Viper's orb. It's a different spot, more of a hard anchor spot rather than a flood defend for A. Also, we haven't seen G2 play with Viper in a long time, so hard to know if this is standard or a specific read into how EDG exec.
There's a lot of unknowns. We'll be learning alongside everybody at home.
Their flood defense strat looks like it's going to be over towards C, as a lot of people do. Most teams are going to be running that. Throw a smoke over, get the Viper wall up, and you can reinforce Leaf's position very quickly.
Plant the spike.
Kang not willing to reveal the fact that he's holding on to the Marshall. Now an attempt over towards the C side. The util is always going to be good for it. I mentioned how good EDG's XX are, but they don't really have the weapons for it, so it will have to be util to try and save the day. Leaf peeks up and over, realizing he wasn't favored. Going to be backing away, and the pause is caught at just the right time. Refighting into the back of the site will not turn up with absolutely anything. It's cleaned up. Stack him up, knock him down by Jonah P himself.
Nobody saving in that round, though. They went for the full buy-up. A lot of respect being shown for EDG. But that also means no Vandals, no, Phantoms to carry forward. So this is light weaponry that G2 are coming into their bonus round with. It's good, though, to play scrappily inside smokes. So that's something that EDG are going to have to watch out for and dodge here. And EDG would love to get off on the right foot. Losing this round might make Haven an impossibility.
It might just send them spiraling. Flash through into mid, couple of stray shots. Bit of posturing from Kang. Overall though, nice and slow. Drone timing, I believe, missed there by Trent. He's not going to be able to see too much information, and a shot whiffed by Icy. Looking to get posted back up onto that one. Trent is going to be under so much pressure once more here with a drone into his face. He's going to try and take a timing past it. He's way ahead of it. Question is, does he come up with any results as well? The fuel timing, it's got to be calmed. Aftershock in through into the back as well as the dart. He doesn't reveal it. Bulldog spray is labored at that, but at least he claims the kill. What a trade down. Snakebite up and over the top as well, only applying a slight amount of vulnerability, and as they attempt to play and swing off of that, EDG are ready. They hold it down with the rifles.
Nice attempt by Trent in that round. Really needed his aim to be a bit cleaner to pick up two if there was any chance of making this one winnable. EDG showcasing that they're happy to do a two-wave exec to try to get through that Viper orb, sorry. But if they're gonna sit there, drone, and then execute afterwards, I thought he teleported straight into the trip there.
Was a chance.
Yeah, if they're gonna do that kind of play, it's gonna give G2 a lot of time to set up flanks, to rotate over and reinforce the A site.
That's Valen looking to do some damage. That's quite
good.
nice, yeah. Two
That is
kills.
Good damage. Smoggy has to rebuy armor. Nobody can drop a teammate. You see the late reaction on Trent. They were so confident that that drone had cleared his position. Really caught them on guard there.
Yeah.
Icy is going to pick up the operator. Saw it in a couple rounds from Kang, but he didn't really find too much value with it playing on back plat. See if Icy can make the difference. When you're playing against a team that doesn't have that Viper wall, playing A-long, super good with an op.
Dodging a phone line, misses the shot though, and the gate crash is not good. Delayed as he's trying to activate it. Kang will punish. Steps up to that challenge with a stun as well. All up in the face of G2. Makes it feel like they could have been going with a bit more pace off the backside of it. Drone in the mid-round, use to clear. Nobody's going to use it. See if you can gain any more information. Jonah P, they know that the Snakebite was dropped down, at least from the one avenue.
Nice cage, threatening like there could be alert going on. Does Jonah P buy it? Doesn't really seem that he does.
They're going for a reclear. I mean, as many fights are about to be occurring here. Nobody wins it out through mid. Valen going peekaboo. Rips the head off Smoggy. Backs away and plays his life. Trent as well, baited into a one-and-done position in case there is that re-exploration by EDG.
If you had a stat of players fault-lined, Simon would be,
He'd be
right
up there.
I mean, that one aimed for Valen, but catches onto Trent. Like you said, he's kind of stuck in short right now. Leaf's going to be asked to do a lot. He has to be worried about this B lurk, and he has to try to cover the C site as well. Viper's down, so Jonah P can't pop that wall up and try to help them flood defend in here.
Yeah.
And Leaf's getting squeezed.
He really is, right from the sides, and the damage done. I mean, listen, Kang was almost alone taking that fight, but he would have had backup at the end of the day anyway. C-plant, and G2 take the tail between their legs there, going to be going all the way away. They want to save this operator.
You certainly don't want that one to fall into enemy hands.
Yeah.
Making that donation over to Kang would be Probably a pretty large mistake. Who knows? Maybe they wouldn't even want to play with it on the attack side as a Neon, but Kong does love to attack up. I think this round was fairly chalked right from the beginning when Icy fails his shot. Kong immediately punishes over there by A-Long. If you're making the investment to put the operator into his hands, as they are again by going and saving it, he's got to be hitting. With Yoru, yes, you can get out, but normally that saves you from the trade, not if you miss the first shot.
Exactly.
Got to be good for them. Looks like it just skimmed past his knee. And this one's a particularly weird one because G2 are not going to be able to buy up around their weapons that they just saved. The economy on the others is too poor for it, really. I mean, they could scrap together Bulldogs if they wanted to.
I mean, you don't really ever want to be doing that, put in a position to force up around the operator.
Yeah, and G2, they're going to take attack timeout, and I think half of it is going to be just discussing whether or not they want to commit here. If you take the commitment and you're in a disadvantage because of the economy, and then you lose, and then it's 9-8, and then you're on an eco, so it's 10-8.
And you're still holding on to the operator for some reason.
Yeah, it's a big,
dragged along.
big risk.
Yeah.
If G2 go for this one, it could well define the map for them. You know, if they win, they're just in it. If they lose, they might be out of it. These last couple of rounds for EDG have been absolutely vital to re-establishing their position in this map. Could have easily snowballed away from them.
They maintain that composure up to 8-8 here. Second map of Haven, already up 1 here for EDG. So at this point, it's all about putting that slam dunk finish onto the series with another upset. Can't get enough of them here, Champs 2024.
G2 have made the decision not to invest. Trent's only bringing a classic into the round.
Taps onto the orbs. So I'm going to be happy for that one now. He's going to be one away towards the Rolling Thunder. Big tool to use. Assuming to get this one online as well. And you're going to be thinking, favor to at least get the plant or a couple of kills into this with G2's weaponry being so low. The danger has to come from Icy or Valorant.
They haven't particularly tested this C defense. I mean, they've been over there once or twice, but we haven't seen what the G2 Flood defend on C looks like. They're actually running into a similar defensive problem as EDG were, where they're keeping 3 players A deep into the rounds. I mean, look at them right now. They don't have too much info, deep down long, that kind of thing. So you've just got no ability to pivot your players over and defend against this exec. This is just absolute free real estate for EDG.
Kang's the one who steps forwards. Taking a challenge into the smoke. Flashes won't connect. And again, playing a retake without any rifles, really, other than just Valen and the op. It's an impossibility for G2. That's the position they're going to be forced into. Choosing whether or not to even make a go of this. Up and around as well. Baiting with the bodies. Seeing if they can set up any sort of kills, but everybody falls. Flawless here for EDG. Op doesn't survive.
Kang getting a glimpse of that trophy that he's hunting for. So G2 forced to go into the next without the off. Maybe it's going to be a good idea for them, because it hasn't found them too much value in the couple rounds that they've been running it. But this one wasn't really a fair one to judge. He had no chance of defending. Kang is so hyped up. He can feel the fact that if they win one more big rifle round right here, they've got G2 on the ropes.
And a mass amount of pings over towards the C site. Valen is going to be tested potentially here from the exec. He sprays down a couple of bullets. No kill in sight, just contact plays, but a dart going to be short of the mark there, shy of it. All up once more, EDG.
They've seen Valen over towards C. Now, he was previously playing A a lot, so that might make them think, okay, let's not go into C. It looks like it's reinforced fairly heavily. Perhaps we can take another avenue here, a different approach. And the breach ult, as that tool in their back pocket, may end up being a fantastic asset.
Jump from nobody. Mouse past this point, looking to fake this presence. They're all in front of it, cuts it up as well, but already deep down C, G2 have taken that space, and they're going to know and be fully aware that there's really nothing else behind this one, and so the call is made. They realize it, a slow crawl all the way over towards the A site. EDG think that they've sold them an absolute blinder.
What a timing for Icy and Jonah P to be re-clearing C. They are still going to be forced to retake, however. Can Trent ult to deny this plan?
30 seconds left.
Nobody's sticking it. It's a little bit delayed and late here to Hunter's Fury. Yeah, it's not going to be connecting. Kankang's going walkabouts. Played in right off the back of it. Their own ult as well, potentially obfuscating most of it. Flank. It's going to have to be held. Icy, no way past it. Has to break the trip now. It's alerted him to his presence. Locked down by Smoggy. This 1v1 being taken, but the rest of G2 is being just, again, plucked out of the prettiest picture. Still going to be trying to win out these fights. Held over the shoulder. Down to that 2 versus 2. Kankang ult in hand. Lets it rip, but again, his head's on a swivel. And Trent delivers a miracle. Get the hell out of here.
He's pulled it out of nowhere. I mean, I had no concept that those players were even lined up. I assumed they were lined up. Has he just hit a crazy spray transfer?
Gotta see it in a replay. There's no world in which G2 should be winning that.
And they needed that. A round loss there absolutely decimated their economy. They needed this more than any round they've had on Haven. Wasn't a full lineup. That took some serious skill to pull off. Fast reactions.
That strat is actually insane, Jacob.
Light-hearted by the sound of things on G2, but they just got away with murder.
Yeah, they're taking the entire map in their stride, despite the fact that it's not quite elimination, but it's a game that will knock them off their feet. Here's a Hunter's Fury to supplement this play as well. Lighten up Trent. Kankang to capitalize.
It's another round where G2, if they lose, their economy's broken. They are not out of the woods yet.
Neural to try and potentially play this one into the retake. The Neural Theft spots out most of the players. They know that the flank isn't really a threat right now. G2 playing this one in almost entirely together. A lot of util to be used here. Ural already popped off. Blind with the paranoia, up into the corner, spraying away. They know the rough positions of these players as well. They have to collect it all together. Jonah P up onto the high ground. Not enough to collect it. Drop down and spray down. Simon delivers them around, and the players are delivered right to his bloody lap.
A perfect response for what Trent just did in the previous round. Hitting a similar level of spray down. G2, no answers, no economy. I love the increase of pace as well. You look at the way that G2 are defending on the A site. They've got that Viper Orb that needs to come up. They need Valen's Paranoia in that spot. EDG just caught them with only a single player looking to defend, reading that Trent was the only one home. EDG should be favored to get up to 11 here, and that is within touching distance of securing this match and going to playoffs. The only #1 seed that would have managed that so far.
One that was least expected.
From inarguably the weakest region, and I don't mean that as a knock on China, just historically, trophies gained, depth in tournaments, China hasn't been there yet. But that yet is doing a ton of heavy lifting here at Champs.
It's the key word. The tide might be changing. EDG are grouped up here, contacting most of the way forwards. I know there's not too much of a risk, but G2 are taking a gamble of their own on the eco. To stack of players could present some danger, especially with EDG just making sure to walk all the way, most of the way through this one, spotting the contact here. And now, Dart not going to be dealt with, lighten them up. Cutting it up into the crossfire setup with the smokes finally blooming and blossoming, and Icy trying to flash himself in, making a play, but this is EDG up to 11.
G2 are going to have to make an adjustment to reinforce this A site. It's been such a glaring weakness in their defense now.
Did every pellet miss?
Who knows how that one's happened. Leaf is one away from getting a lockdown. Trent is a couple away from a Hunter's Fury. These kind of ults can really reinforce an A site. They work for plant denial, they work for a retake potential as well. But they're going to get them online by dying, really. That's not a great way for the end of your map to look.
No.
EDG, like I said, touching distance now.
And as we mentioned right at the beginning of this series as well, EDG, they were the top dogs in China for quite some time regionally, but they've been overshadowed a lot pushed to the brink by their own region. And not just that as well, they've been watching some of the other teams at this very event, even just earlier today, overshadow them. But EDG not willing to go down quietly. They want to show the strength of their region, the strength of their team, the improvements that have been made. I'm dead impressed. The pace and tempo. It's turned up, increase off the back of it. Ult, not committed, in fact, just broken. Kang trying to play himself in. It's doubled up. Movement slightly ajar, enough to just offset all of it. And pre-fires into the corner. Hunter's Fury again to supplement and push back EDG away from this C site.
G2 are using huge amounts of ultimates here, but it is getting them the value. 5v3 and G2 are looking to re-clear over towards Garage.
Spike picked up. G2's got it now.
Does he realize he's back? He's got enemies there.
Silent drop down, Leaf. He nails it. Chichu drops, so does the spike. Nobody going for another reclamation. No, my goodness. Smoggy can only do so much into this spot. He's got the time to work with, but unfortunately, insurmountable odds. And it's all set against them here. G2 will not go down themselves.
That was a good setup. They had Viper's Pit over towards A, reinforcing that site that has been a weakness for them. They deal with Kang by doubling up, break that Omen ultimate. They've even got the Silver ult that comes through, denying a Garage split. Everything there worked the way that G2 would have thought it up. But now they don't have the Hunter's Fury. Now they don't have the Pit to reinforce the A site. So now it becomes incredibly important that we see a change around in the defensive setup for G2. The A site has been a massive weakness. EDG are going to try to exploit that. Or fake that they're going to try to exploit that. 3 players cemented in place for G2 on A. And Icy incentivized to go for the push down C.
And this is ballsy. Yes, he has the gate crash, but he's taking this fight almost alone. Nobody. He's droned up and right ahead of it. Nobody. Burst it down, beam down. Where's the follow-up and through? It's up through Garage. And Kang will be dropped. Leaf making sure to shore up those defenses with the reinforcements now scattering and arriving. There are some potential holes here into the setup, and Chichu has found one of them.
Very safe positioning there from Icy and Leaf. They don't want to get caught out. They're happy to give the C site over. They've got lockdown for the retake, as long as Leaf doesn't die right now.
Why not play like that? It's a 3v5. Don't give away any unnecessary advantages. Fault line. Push into the spawn. Smoggy wants to go with things, but it did not connect. Not onto Icy, not this time. Simon with the plant. Stuck in place. Chichu's still there. Pushing forwards. Aftershock as well. It's all highlighted and orchestrated like they want to try and fight this once again, and G2 are fully aware. Anti-flash. A dart into the back. A playmaking ability by Icy. Sacrificing his own body for it, but he's still the one to come up with the kill. Simon has got to do so much more. Kills are offered up towards him, but not enough in the end. G2 collected all together, playing together with that discipline that's highlighted this team as a major strength all throughout, and they've managed to equalize it up to 11.
That A fake was such a beautiful call from EDG. And Icy's push down C long should have been punished if nobody had a single other player with him. Icy goes down in this spot, you gotta think it. And yet both of their players that were in more solo positions, Nobody and Kang both fell.
Do the thing,
11-11. Don't know what the thing is. But I've got to imagine here, EDG are taking a tag timeout.
Okay.
They were all set up. We could see on the minimap, all set up to go for an A hit. I would imagine it wasn't going to be another fake. Just reading into the psychology of the way that players normally play the game, if you run a fake play and it doesn't work, and the only thing that's been working for you recently is the big site execs on A, I would expect EDG to just go for it. Maybe the coach has hit the button here because he didn't like what the call was, when things are getting to crunch time.
Possibly getting ahead of ourselves. I mean, I can see the economy. Of course, there's options for EDG to adjust, but Kang does have that operator into his hands on the attack side. So if you're going to be going into an A hit as well, it's not really the best tool for the job.
At the same time, it's something that EDG do very often.
Yeah.
They will often run fast plays where Kang is opping. He's just super comfortable in those kind of spots. Is it the best way of playing the game? No, not really. But does he still find value with it? Yeah. More often than he should, I would say. and they've still got this huge breach ult to use. I think they're expecting G2 to be playing in retake positions. You look at the ult status. Attacking team has breach ult, defending team has killjoy ult. You're expecting defenders to be playing retake quite a lot of the time, which means that EDG might want to try to take the site for free and not use that breach ult. You might get some weird situations here where Simon's trying to be a bit greedy, hold it for post plant, and gets punished.
11 to 11. Nice and cautious here by EDG. They're hoping and praying that somebody will just peek onto this A-long. Angle for the information. Full prey to Kang with the up. It's being jiggled, I believe, onto the other side of things. Chichu also going exploration. Oh. Garage does manage to fire a few bullets necessary. Takes out the alarm bot.
And now nobody actually has somebody with him, right? He's not going to get timinged.
All from Icy. This is going to be used roughly around the minute mark. He needs that mid-round information for the rest of his team. Spotting two of these players in through mid. Pretty big tell. Exiting out. Gate crashes potentially to the other side of the map as well. So a slow and steady play by EDG. The longer this goes. Oh, Kang misses it with a shoulder peek. And the awareness is now there for G2. They do not want to offer any more chances. Shock dart. Rebounds. Patience played, but A-long has been given up with only 35 seconds. This looks like it's moving, the jump spot. Trent tempt him twice. Rolling Thunder now committed. Paranoia alongside it. Valen is tucked safe. Nicely inside the orb. Stunned up. Matters not. This guy's still alive and kicking here with a flash of his own as well to play into the back pocket. The rest of his team are already played all the way in. Simon weaving in and out. Nowhere to play. With the spike into his hands, he just has to let the time run way out. And G2, they've stolen this round away. When all the momentum felt like it was in the hands of EDG. This is the 12th round now for G2.
What a beautiful adjustment from Jonah P of where he put that Viper orb. We've been seeing it towards that A-long entrance almost all the map. And now he's making that shift to put it in a more standard spot. This is where most teams would be running that Viper orb, at least in the previous meta when Viper was played on this map. Valen hunkered down inside of it. Hits a great headshot.
Let's go. Match point. We're 12-11 right here. This is where we end it, boys. This is where we end it.
And that's confident from G2. They were just on the ropes. 11-9 down. Now with a chance to bring us to bind. You gotta close teams out like G2.
Kang's going to take matters into his own hands here. Order util to set it up. Another fast play from EDG. Again, an open site for the taking. Fault line in through the link as well, but G2 and none playing towards it. Wizened up to the tricks of the trade. Lockdown's going to be used as well to clear this one out nice and freely. No more util has to be used here by G2. Drone in through the back. Trent's going to be threatening like it could be making a play for this one.
Alarm bot for the garage reflank. They're going to know about this.
Nobody's already passed it though. Alarm bot triggers. Jonah P defusing half onto the board. This is for the map. Someone needs to stop this. Someone needs to stop this. But no one is there. G2 right from beneath them. They steal the map away. And bind is fated to happen.
I think steal is the perfect word to use there. EDG looked like they were in control, up 11-9. You have to close out against teams like G2. You cannot afford to let the series go deeper. EDG have just lost control.
Like Balenciaga got that. Fake copy like that.
like a boss now 가짜 피똥사시 나 보고 놀라 족발보단 보쌈벌 이젠 둘 다 골라 가락이 바보야만 그래 뭐 잘하는 것만 잘하 아니었어 발렌시아가 누워서 하나 골라 쉬고 하나쯤은 재미로나 내가 하는 하나하나 everybody wanna Let's be like that shiny Balenciaga got that Fake up, pick up the like that 현실은 그렇지 않네 They wanna be like that Like Balenciaga got that Fake copy, copy like that 현실은 그렇지 않네 They wanna be like that 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 They wanna be
What's up, guys? It's G2 Jonah P, and I'm here to talk to you. I mean, it's always great to get a dub, but I definitely didn't appreciate my first match to be against Paper X, but I can't decide that. But overall, it's very exciting to play them, especially because of their playstyle, and we feel good to start our first match ever at Champs with a dub. I think our coaches did a pretty good job at preparing us for them. It definitely felt less individual plays and more team plays from them, so props to them for, you know, trying to incorporate, you know, W gaming and more structured gaming. So I think we just had a good read, a good flow on them the whole time. It started to get pretty close on Lotus, but, you know, one clean round from us and we knew it would be fine.
Now they maintain their control, slow the push from Paper X, send them in the other direction, but Jonah P waiting as usual on a sliver of HP, and he triples up!
The name Professor's definitely grown on me. I have an idea when we win the whole champs, I'm gonna ask to get a Professor title in game. You know, you never know, gotta shoot my shot. I think that would be cool. But yeah, I didn't really like the name Professor at the start, but you know, seeing how much it's grown and seeing the whole community type it whenever I do something crazy, I've grown to love it, so it's great.
Welcome back, everyone. You heard Jonah P there in that Omen player moment talking about, you know, the nicknames. You don't get to pick the nickname. You know, the people bestow the nickname onto you. That is why he is the Professor. Absolutely love it. But wow, I mean, incredible stuff. Let me fix my headset for a second. Give me a hot minute there. We're in this, boys. We're back in it. We're back in.
6 map per day. Let's go.
It's a long
Good,
day of work.
honest Valorant today.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. But let's talk about what we saw on this one, man, because the talk of the town going into it, fellas, was the Yoru, right? And Achilles, you're seeing what they were getting with that value.
Yeah, and this was from the outset. I mean, granted, yeah, EDG were able to make things very competitive in the half, but G2, I really liked the game strategies we were seeing from them from the beginning. That your ult comes through right there in round 4. Immediately Mask goes on. You chase 2 players out of that C site right into LEV, who's just counter-taking that space in Garage. He's up in window, and it just lambs to the slaughter for him to go ahead and pick things apart, and the round just falls apart from there. So there's some very good stuff there from the side of G2. Obviously, EDG making this one incredibly competitive. It looking like we were going to be going to overtime for a little while, but right near the end, that economy just getting out of hand for the side of EDG. They just couldn't recover.
Yeah, and I think overall there were some weaknesses in G2's game plan, like where EDG was like constantly putting pressure, especially with the Neon, on the extremities of the map. Long C, long A were really difficult for G2 at times here.
The
and that's
flanks
why,
were nasty.
Yes, the flanks were great, and just their ability to control that space, you know, using Kong Kong to kind of dash in and out to get some op shots to whiff and things like that really did cause G2 some trouble. However, their fundamentals came into check. They came back. They started having these great retakes. The Yoru ults were so amazing, like you're talking about. Every time it had a ton of impact, even if it was on a retake or if it was on just an info gathering mission. It really made it a lot more difficult for EDG to work the map the way they wanted.
Yeah, it felt like whenever they, you know, had the opportunities to pop those ults, right, they were were getting some kind of value. Hunter's Fury, Viper's Pit. They were finding that value wherever it was, available to them. Yeah, and they were able to pick up the dub there. But one player that we were really hoping to see come online in map 2 was Leaf, and he did just that.
Yeah.
Absolute turnaround that we saw from him on this one, Achilles.
Yeah, I mean, he went from fairly absent on the first map to just full-blown impact, being near the top of the standings there for the team. Yeah, that's right. His first map was so bad. He had 1.5.4 ADR, which is just abysmal, and also the ending of my IP address. But this was just a really good turnaround. But we kind of teed this up.
Yeah.
That slow start for G2, starting to get the understanding. This was not nearly as clean as some of the matches we were seeing from them in Shanghai, being able to pick up that second map win. But as we get ready to go into Bind, we could still follow that trend of just slow start into this ramp up into domination.
Yeah, I do think G2's got something with that composition on Haven. I'm curious to see them continue to iterate and grow it. But now we set our sights to Bind. I was actually talking to Sideshow about this before, where he was reading the series layout to me. And I was like, I think this is a pretty strong one for G2. Like, no matter what, if they get the map 3, this is good for G2. And here we are, map 3. And Paperton, I mean, kind of got to side a little bit with G2 on this one. They have a great track record on this map. They're very good at it. So, I don't know. I'm curious to see what the community thinks.
I'm with you. I felt that way going into Icebox, though. I felt like their fundamentals, their structure, would get them over the line against some of the quote-unquote messiness that, EDG brings. However, EDG had some good ideas to counter it. They were able to kick some doors in, find some opportune moments to catch G2 off guard. So G2 here, they play the standard Bind comp, and they played it to perfection. They were undefeated in Stage 2, and America's on it. And they weren't just undefeated, they were destroying teams. I think the closest scoreline was like 13-8.
Yeah.
They are phenomenal at this map, but EDG also very, very good at this map. They switched up their comp very recently. They have the Fade in there now, so the biggest difference is going to be the Initiators. It's going to be Fade versus Sky for both teams, so really curious to see if they can find ways to get some value with that Fade versus kind of that long, deep control that the Sky gives you.
They were able to get the win, in that opening series here of the group stage on Bind. Yes, a little bit scrappy, but still a decent victory for the side of EDG taking that foot. So I'm curious to see how this one looks, because if they can level up their performance, if they can kind of get back into that magic that we were seeing from them on Icebox, where everybody was going, fragging out of control, Smoggy, Kong, they're at the top of the standings, and then Simon and G2 creeping up in that second half. If they have that level of firepower behind them again here on Bind, they can close this out, but this is going to be the ultimate challenge. Icebox was a bit of an hors d'oeuvre as we get ready to go into this.
You know what, though? You get a situation here where G2 does have a lot of film, on how they play this in officials. So there could be something that EDG could lean on potentially in their prep work. One would have to imagine, because you're damn well sure G2 prepped for this one.
Yeah, I mean, EDG has been, so far this event, very, very good with their anti-stratting. I mean, Muggle's done a great job with this squad, getting them ready for what the other teams are going to bring, and you're absolutely right. I mean, it's something we saw in Icebox. It gave them grief because there was such a good read. You had already shown it once this event against Paper Rex. And like you said, tons of data on this Bind for EDG to work with and try to take this strong map away from their opponents.
I mean, one player that we haven't touched on too much is Icy. We mentioned him there with the Yoru, but he had a pretty good performance on that Icebox, carried that over into Haven. If he's going to continue on that level with this race, then G2 might just be set up for a victory. So Kong going to have to do that much more work to really try to outdo him.
Yeah, we're on the precipice of a massive, monumental achievement here for VCT China as a region, right? Going clean in the day with Trace moving forward, EDG potentially moving forward as well.
And with Trace doing that, they were the first Chinese team to be able to make it out of groups as a first seed. It's always kind of been that second position.
Yeah.
EDG might be able to match them. They can't beat them to that achievement, but they certainly can tie it up.
Yeah, but it's going to be a tough challenge for both teams, but it couldn't end any other way. Let's get ready for map 3 and send it over to your casters. Brendan, Sideshow, one final time.
We're going to be finding which way this series ends up landing as well. And, best of threes. Typically, at this point as well, we're finding that map pools are getting tested as teams are getting pushed to the brink of them, which sounds odd to say, right? When there's only 3 maps played. Normally, you'd expect that to be reserved for best of 5s. But when you have all the maps being shifted and changed just before you go into champs, in before playoffs, and a lot of time to prep for, you end up with holes in your game plans and unexpected results when you reach that pinnacle, that third and final map in series.
And there's a really good reason why people talk about G2 having a little stumble or maybe starting slow and then closing out strong. The narrative is they drop the first map, second map is close, dominate the third map. You want to talk about the last 3 months, G2's win rate in third maps in a BO3, they're 6-0. They have not lost the third map of a BO3 in 3 months.
Yeah.
All year.
Sometimes narratives we spout, they are correct.
Yeah. All year, they're 8-3. It wasn't really a narrative that was around before May, but since then, the numbers, they speak for themselves. The more time you give G2 to warm up into a series, they do end up dominating towards the end. I'm not sure how much EDG are going to be thinking about that. Obviously, the teams just take it one map at a time, one round at a time. 100%. But if they VOD review and if they look back, that end of Haven was the opportunity. They need further opportunities, and they're going to have to do a lot of hard work to get those further opportunities on Bind.
Hard to push that out of your mind sometimes. Now, yeah, if you've got keen eyes, you can probably tell that we're solving an issue down on the stage. Quick audio issue. Hopefully it's just in-ears swapped in and out. Get that tested.
Yeah, I mean, it's Valen's in-ears, and he's popping them back in right now. We're getting a nice deep look down his ear canal, aren't we?
Yeah, what's the magnification on that bad boy?
He's testing them out and seeing what's going on.
See all the details.
It is interesting thinking about audio. For our viewers perhaps that have never been and attended one of these events, they are much louder, bigger events than the ones where you play regionally. Even when these players play regionally, there are things that you will notice in your ranked games, little sounds that you can pick up that our pros sometimes can't because of the roar of the crowd or because of the white noise in their headsets that's used for competitive integrity reasons.
Yeah.
There are things that are different about this game on the big stage, more than just the pressure, the nerves.
I mean, for me, it's been the spike time at this event.
Yeah.
Been missing that one quite a bit.
Yeah, definitely seen some other moments where people have dropped down behind players and they haven't reacted.
Yeah.
It's not always a comms issue.
But we will be getting into this one here. For the beginning of Bind, our pistol round. Starting right at the beginning here, EDG versus G2. G2 no slouches on this map. They are dominant. Desk was kind of going through the details, picking apart the statistics. Early smoke in their face though.
That fakes the fact that EDG are taking short control. We can see not the case.
G2 are right there behind it now. Up and over. Wingman going to be escorted in through the side. A bit of spam into the smoke makes Simon think twice. He could have potentially denied the plant there, but it's going to go down into the next.
That's really good work. Spam into that smoke stops the plant denial. This map, the A site, all about plant denial.
That just removes that crucial element of time. Mosh pit util. Nate's going to be rebounding here just to try and get Icy out of there. Regaining control of lamps as well. Heading 2 for Nail. EDG Joe, they're going to be setting their sights now over towards the forward section. See if they can take the fight through with the flashes, and heads are turning, facing away. G2 are dominating now every position, leaving Chichu the last one left to do so much here, but Icy with a running gun shuts him down. Bullet to the brain for the pistol round win.
What a brilliant start for G2's duelist. 4 kills in the round, but not just any old kills. He was under a lot of utility pressure. Perfectly timed raise nade to keep back and keep Lamp's control. Came around swinging through smokes, confident the whole time. He's here to play. You get Icy online, and it turns G2 from being a team that's very scary, looking to make deep runs in tournaments, actually, I think, to potential tournament winners. Like, it makes that level of a bump increase for them. At the moment, of course, still being pressured hard by EDG. And we've seen with teams like Gen G and Fnatic losing that all of the heavy Leviathan losing as well.
Oh, and they are fully aware. Simon was going to try and go for that cheeky play. Most of EDG playing in Spawn for this round as well to see if they could just react to the noise cues sent their way. Now here's the danger zone for EDG. G2 getting into positions as well with his ults being earned up. Icy's 3 away from his showstopper into this. They want to be hopefully empowering him, setting him up to try and get these kills. Trent's the one though, taking them all away. Leading it forwards here with a 3-piece, so flawless against the eco. Very little damage being done to them by EDG.
And like you pointed out, this is massively dangerous for EDG. The snowball is right on their doorstep. It's looking like an avalanche. picking up so much pace and momentum as it comes down the mountain. It's looking like a Thrash, a showstopper, super early on. These are the rounds where if you lose them, if G2 are able to convert a bonus, you get that domination that we've been talking about sometimes happens for G2's previous games. Looking like Trent's going to be playing just to reinforce Icy's position to start with, but could play for an ult orb later on in the round.
A bonus round with potentially a bit of bite behind it.
I feel like we're actually noticing less and less teams go for that obvious run towards an ult orb at the start of the round. It's just too predictable for the defenders to think about. So you get rounds like this where there's a bit more of a default, no immediate lunge for that micro objective. And then they'll try to grab it later on, or maybe even play for post plants. Of course, if Trent gets that spike down with Wingman, he'll have the Thrash as well.
And the Prowler pressure just connecting onto Leaf a little bit prior will keep a lot of these EDG players tethered to the spot over towards the A side here. Nobody looking for that info, just slight jiggle. Mosh now be utilized to try and push them back and away, but it's one less tool really to stall out potential attack. That's why Chichu's holding on to this. That's the second wave of things with the boombot. Triggered out. Mosh pit now up and over Trent. That's incredible awareness, just knowing that Chichu was going to be placed up into that spot. But the Thrash earned from that kill, he wants to send this one flying forward. Stimmy. It's a very rapid Shark indeed, clearing most of the way, but not clearing the pocket. But Simon spotted. Icy plays off of least contact almost perfectly. Running through the smoke. Kang. Smoggy has made the most of this. It's a 3-piece for him. Make it 4. And everybody falls from G2 in the blink of an eye.
That round sums up the kind of team play macro calling versus one individual. Who's going to win? Beautiful G2 calling, 5 people rotating around the map perfectly, or one little smoggy boy? it's smoggy.
It definitely was in this instance. He has not slowed down, has he? That momentum, not just from the last 2 maps, the previous series as well.
No, but apart from trading out Smoggy, G2 played that round perfectly. I mean, the macro movement around the map was beautiful. Came up towards B long, got the opening kill, rotate through the teleport, huge pressure through showers, trade out the player pocket even. I don't think the G2 should be too disheartened by that. And they've done a little bit of economy damage. It's not a huge amount. Light armor on a couple, Bulldog on 1. It's a fairly even round here in round 4. But Icy is 1 away from Showstopper. He's currently, though, the only player B long. Trying to work it on his own seems very dangerous.
Oh, well, that's an accidental TP. Kanga's just sidestepped backwards there, and he just landed that. He was supposed to be playing, or being played in at least by the jump spot, a bit of a bait and switch setup. Broken into pieces now. This is going to be used out through A short.
Icy, I don't think has even realized how lucky he just got.
I mean, EDG potentially ready to pounce on him. And all because of that. I mean, Icy's picked up the orb. He's got his ult, the repeat, and reposition here from nobody. He wants to try and get that information. Surely you don't use the mosh pit. Surely you don't overheat. Man, you got to get out of there. Mosh still being held down. Chichu, this time he's the bait. Going to be trying to lock this down onto one of the angles here. There's a showstopper that is exchanged onto either side. As it's just a 1-for-1. They're going to be making the mass wraparound now over towards the A side. Still that crossfire. Holding it down for the back of the side. A bit of damage potentially done. Simon's here trying to play himself in once more. Taking a fight with the Bulldog in hand. He just can't land it. Takes a molly to the face, yet still Smoggy. Defense up and over. 12 seconds left. Orbital strike. It's all toppling now. And the spike has to be planted. Defense is necessary. Valor needs to be held. All the way through is the last one left. Swung through and out. Through the wall.
For all that Smoggy did in the prior round, Valen is there to answer. That round got so close. EDG with that accidental teleport, but they actually made a decent run of it still. Kang found his value on the other side, going 1-for-1 with the raise. They were ready to fight. Why did they not swing Valen immediately as soon as they heard the plant go down? I don't understand that element of it. A bit of miscoordination there between, I believe it was Chishu and Smoggy, the last 2 players alive.
Right here. EDG's money sent toppling back down to the weaker by G2 again. That's that danger. This composition.
And if you think back, EDG were trying to set up that trap play B long, but they failed. And so G2 have just found this area of the map for free, basically every round. The one round where they should have been contested, the execution was fumbled. Now, B long control, ult-op taken, Seeker's out.
Here comes the snowball, potentially, but the kill's going whiffy all over the place there. Icy has to retreat inside the smoke. He's been locked out. The rest of his team can't quite get themselves through this one. Anchoring smokes, placed down. Chichu's landed it, but eventually cleaned up. And the rest of his team, though, needs to be aware of the fact that nobody could be creeping forwards into this one, yes. With the spike planted, Icy makes sure this rifle well trained onto that spot here. So the retake from Simon and Smoggy, unlikely to come out with the goods.
Trent, by the way, 2 away from his second thrash. We're only in round 5.
It's just insane. If you get the ball rolling with this composition, you cannot be stopped. You can just keep snowballing it. Ult orbs into plants, and then ults themselves into the XX. Very difficult to stop.
And look at that. Trent comes in to steal the kill. That's perfect. Gets another one.
Leaf's baiting it. Leaf's baiting it.
Yeah.
He's trying to get Trent to kill here. This is just min-maxing to the utmost, but okay, eventually put Simon out of his misery. That's a 4-1 now. Into the round differential here for G2.
And EDG can't figure out these timings of when they need to be fighting over certain areas of the map. Of course, that was just the eco round. But they're going to take a tack timeout to discuss this defensive strategy. Generally speaking, it's not working. I know that they had a close round there. Came down to Valin against against Smoggy. And Smoggy, of course, with that fantastic round where he gets a 4K. But these are rounds built on more of the individual than they are of the game plan, the macro, the team. These things that are going to be more consistent. EDG, though, are also getting close to their first big ult cycle. 1 away from Pit, 1 away from Showstopper. Being 1 away from Pit, though, sucks. Because you're thinking about, well, I'd love it for this round. This is the round where we actually have rifles.
No way to get it.
No, I mean, what are you going to do? The Viper pushes showers to get the ult orb and then hits. It just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
They could, however, do something similar with Kong Kong. They could try to double fight over showers. Strategy that we see quite a lot of teams go for.
Yeah.
See if you can catch Jonah P, because he's normally the attacking player that defaults in that area. If they're doing an A-leaning default.
For EDG, spotting same kind of weaknesses, I think, as well, when I was doing a lot of the VOD review prep. Legwork heading in, their bind composition, when they get ahead of themselves, I think, with the B defense. What I'm noticing as well, a lot of teams, I think, when they catch contact on B-long seeing players, they'll save the mosh pit. They won't end up using it. They'll just back away. Getting the information is good enough, but you're seeing nobody just kind of rush into things. He uses the mosh pit early, and it leaves him with one less molly to use to try and stall out an exec that might be occurring.
Another big thing is that Chishu is always throwing his Viper Orb over towards A. He's not using it for B-long. So they kind of need that mosh, or at least they feel like they do.
Otherwise, the pressure's too overwhelming. Now they've at least offset it here with a deep smoke. He's going to drop that one down defensively.
And they're trying to get good information on both edges of the map, where both the ult orbs are. But I feel like Simon's getting baited in here. G2 deliberately giving him bad information. Wall up. They're expecting some kind of push. G2 looking to control that. Trent doesn't need the ult orb, remember. A post-plant thrash would also be great if Wingman can plant.
G2 now grouping up, looking like they want to set themselves up into the exec.
Kong is the player to watch. He's got nade for plant denial. He's got ult for plant denial. Or a kill.
Full piece of kit here. Flashed up though, blinded. Nade's going to be rebounding, ricocheting. Here's the ult showstopper. Back wall, but no targets. And no casualty. As a result, through the wall, spam down. Haunt reveals up onto Leaf, putting that pressure down. Vulnerable is excellent and good, but he still needs some extra elements to help him out entirely. He is being pressured, overwhelmed, taken out. Coverage there from the lamp position, but EDG have control of showers, and now calling for the evacuation. Trendo not so lucky. Will be dropped from behind. And Gigi was saving this one. A snakebite for a rainy day with the wall still up. Bullets are excellent. Damage through the wall. Taking those timings, but he can hear it. Scuttling, scurrying across the sand. Icy wins that fight. Jonah P covering it all. You cannot be squandering this. No way. Simon will close it out anyway.
So many of these rounds are coming down to fine margins. That is not one of them that I thought would go like that. EDG looked utterly in control. And they do close it out. Credit to Simon. Newer player stepping up. His first time on the big stage. Still delivering. He had to go and play that one a little silly, didn't he? To put the pressure on Leaf so that they could focus elsewhere. You see Chishu's reaction. EDG, though, one of the reasons that that round worked is they got the plant denial working on A. They had nade, they had the molly actually coming out from Smoggy. Smoggy hasn't even bought molly this round.
Yeah, not quite. It's a thrash to use. Clears the way, paves the way in for an A exec. Warm up 2 alongside that. I mean, Showers has been fully disrespected. Sees up and over. Man, not worried about that one, but a nade. Icy's got to be concerned. Satchel and around. Bit of bungee cord in play. Will survive. And the plant's down crucially here for G2 now, but the second wave of things ready. Prime. Simon scatters it. Forwards now with a Nightfall. Thrash wave 2. All to push them back and away. It's a cacophony of util. The mosh pit of nobody that gets that first kill advantage. Leaf damage done again through the wall. The pit to just try and play EDG right back into this one again, but the bodies are toppling. Players are falling. EDG cannot hold a candle right now to the rifle play and work right through Leaf. Even with the pressure, he's overcoming it all, and they all are falling. G2, a chokehold onto that A post plant, not letting EDG in.
No plant denial for EDG. No showers control for the Chinese squad either. And so G2 are just able to run in down short, have perfect post-plant positioning. Valen sat back with a molly, 1 away from the orbital strike. I mean, how are these players supposed to retake when they don't have a stable area with which to play from? Oh,
Yeah,
and that
bro,
is a
these
bit
kids are
lucky, I
getting
think.
finesse, bro. My movement is giving them...
Okay.
I was waiting to see if we caught the thing that his movement was giving them.
A lot of trouble, I think. Couldn't clear him out of that corner. Walkabouts for Chichu. This guy, he's a demon with the sheriff in his hand, especially when Kang's there to help him out right from the side. Shot fired. This will force potentially a pace increase out from G2, but instead, again, they cut the noise. Bit of discipline here. Just the slightest of pause, enough for them to full rotate out through the TP. Seekers as well. Leads it to an open sight. And already push it in through the spawn, I see. He's taking liberties with it. Kang's a danger man with that rifle in play, and with him toppled and dropped. No more towards it. 1 now for the ace. Simon is miles away.
I don't think Icy's getting this one. Although, if Simon did go through showers, you'd have to cut out the middle to make a clip out of it, wouldn't you? But, but certainly a different energy in here for G2. And mirroring a lot of their previous rounds. Here it comes.
Yeah, will we see it? And ticking away. Simon's cutting it up. Close! He denies. It's a funny moment.
Not funny for Simon. Not funny for EDG. As every round ticks up for G2. There'll be a little voice in the back of their heads thinking, should have closed it on Haven. Yeah. Had the chances on Haven.
The missed opportunities.
Could have been a 2-0. I mean, look at the aggression that they're going for here. This is how you get into spots where G2 steamroll on map 3s. 6-0 in the last 3 months when it comes to the final map of a BO3. Icy has run away with it. He's 13-5. And like we were talking about, the ult cycle has never stopped.
No.
It's a runaway train.
Just keeps generating, man. Perpetual motion machine.
I've seen those on TikTok.
Flash satchel clear. Can hear the util being pulled out. It's Chichu and nobody already using their mollies. G2 don't want any part of it though. Instead now moving over towards the A site. Feeling content that they may have just pulled rotations away from that area. Showers now, that deep push. Icy with a showstopper. Looks to potentially open up the round. Opposite of the namesake. Through the smoke. And Smoggy is no more. Leaf potentially hearing that sound cue and calling for it. Yep. All the noise being made. Opened up Simon. Back to the world. And at this point, EDG, gotta save these rifles. There's no more money left to play with.
But also EDG looking like they don't have a plan. And honestly running out of a bit of hope as well. You can tell in the way that G2 are playing, they know they've got this.
Yeah.
They can feel the wind coming towards them. They're outplaying EDG, running circles around them. I mean, again here with Jonah P's positioning, but nobody comes out on top. We need to see something, maybe from an individual, like Smoggy's 4K earlier, that re-energizes EDG and gets them back into the game. Either that or some kind of tack timeout to get a strategic change on things. They just haven't been able to stop the plants from going down. It feels like G2 are constantly in these spots where EDG are backpedaling and having to make, you know, solo plays like here where Simon just gets caught alone in showers.
More smiles on the G2 players. I mean, you could feel it. The vibes were taking a turn even in some of the replays we were looking at towards the end of Haven. You wouldn't think that's a team being pressured. The potential of losing the series, but now you can see why, taking it one round at a time. It's worked out nicely, and EDG, there's no timeout called. Maybe they're the ones talking it through in that short amount of time as well to try and cook up something here with a stimmy. Satchel, flash as well, sets up Icy.
Good nade.
Nicely, yeah, the nade is nice. Sees. There's a little bit off the mark though, no connection for it. Leaf was low.
If Trent gets inside Thrash or Jonah P gets inside the dog, there is a Brimble on the other side.
Contact refight, I want to get ahead of most of this already, but do they have the weapons for the job? Nobody. Not long for this world. Can't survive in the middle of it, but it isn't a cheeky play. And a nice one, just try and call that one up and cut up the timings that G2 were trying to take. At this point though, again choked out.
Another round that they basically have no chance in. It would take something momentous from Kangkang. He's found a timing.
He slipped past. Leaf is down, and so is the pit, but Valen's immediately there to respond in through the back of the site. Leave it just down to Simon. It's been good for the clutches in the past. Newcomer to the roster. This is too much to do. Sheriff in hand. It'd have to be an improbable and impossible play, and he knows it. Haunt over, doesn't even spot him, doubled up, discipline, 1 HP and a dream, but it's an 8th round for G2.
And a nightmare for EDG. If we get some of that aggression though, coming out from them when they have rifles in hand, ults to work with, maybe that'll end up being the key. They did find quite a nice timing there. I'm not sure that G2 were ready for that timing necessarily, but without rifles in the hands of Edward Gaming, the G2 players were just able to react in that spot and win the fights anyway.
Dude, sorry, Nate. I actually don't know how, bro.
Okay, Jacob's 15 and 5.
And that is so true. Icy taking over, 15 and 5. It's easy to play when you've got a star player putting out performances like that. And we were expecting it from the other side on Kangkang.
Is this the adjustment that DDG are going for? Any signs of the util as the C's being held? Kangkang's there with a showstopper.
Anytime you have ults like this and there's a deep smoke, it also looks like a sand crunch. So, as Valen's reading into this round, he's thinking short's dangerous, sand's dangerous.
Waits it out though. Prowler catches it. Trailblazer alongside the boombot to C's and a nade. Again, at least the C's is good, but the nade just a little bit too deep. Banks it off to the side now. Reposition from EDG. They want to try and take up that shower's control. Kangkang's still there. Has the ult waiting at the minute mark, but there's no signs from G2. They want to take the TP pivot. The spike was already leaning over towards the speed direction, and a lot is asked of him. Over the strike through the back. He does land the kill. Needs to lock down his position though. In and out through. Find space for the rest of his team. Moshpit's going to be landing with 40 seconds left into the round. Full side control.
Thrash has already been picked up, right? Trent, I think, has it.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah. So this is going to be the repop.
Wait for the second wave now. Straight through, up and over, not broken, but the timing taken across it. It's rifled in hand. Nobody in Chichu. To try and put a stop to all of this. Kangkang through the TP, might have just done enough still. 15 seconds, nobody not clear, but eventually is. 12 left, time is of the essence. G2, they stretch it to the finest of details. And Simon again, asked to do so damn much. No crossfire setup, but you know, as soon as Valen has taken that contact, the swing will be there from Trent. It has to be a miracle. It will not be the case. A 9th round for G2.
It's amazing the way that G2 are able to recover these situations. EDG had a stack on the B site. The Thrash found nothing. Kangkang is coming through behind them with a showstopper as well.
Can't believe it.
Valen's kill, when he comes back through, this one here, onto nobody, absolutely crucial. If they get locked out at the choke point there, if that solo player B long is not able to find that value, EDG have won the round.
Stay focused on us. Make the...
Double operator coming out for G2 here on the attack side. Just hoping that EDG overstep themselves, get desperate, and they have. Yeah, immediately.
Straight into the trap. Leaf is there waiting. Thrash to try and set up some sort of crunching through the angles. Horn's going to be revealed. Leaf squares up to it, takes the challenge. Trailblazer forwards, but way ahead of it. Jonah P had no one else to play off of here. EDG might have at least carved their way a path back into this round. Thrash round 2, Chichu with the push. It's all putting the squeeze onto these G2 players into a 2v3. Chaos sowed. It's not over yet, the job's not finished. Hearing all sorts of sound and heads, not expecting it, IC! Frying them!
He's made this incredibly winnable.
Chichu dropped down to just 5 how 50 seconds left, the footsteps are heard. It's a game with those timings down. Just what I said earlier, the finer moments of the round now. Will he catch it right from behind? The answer is yes. So, a consolation round. EDG, they get the third one there. To finish up the half, potentially enough. But listen, it'd have to be a hell of a comeback mounted.
Desk was looking at their bingo card earlier on. They had a 9-3 curse in there, but G2 have just looked so heavily in control.
It'll be a hard ask indeed. We'll find out on the other side of this.
Hey guys, welcome to the stream.
When you're relentless,
okay, we got this.
You can achieve anything. Reach your impossible. Lenovo Legion.
A 9-3 scoreline sets them up beautifully for the wrap-up, the finishing into the series as well. Against EDG, don't get me wrong, they've been tested, pushed to the brink, but it's all about how you finish and bind here. I mean, G2 looking unstoppable right now.
Think about this tournament overall. Gen G, favorites, ended up losing in groups. They're not out yet, of course, but lost. Fnatic, in my opinion, second favorites. They've also lost. I would have Heretics. Many of the community had Leviathan in that kind of spot, and also G2. A lot of these teams have looked shaky, and yes, G2 are getting pushed in these maps. But if this one ends dominantly, you gotta have your eyes on this squad as another one of those potential candidates to lift the trophy later on, to go on some kind of run.
That's the crazy thing about these big events, especially champs, where it all culminates at the end of the year. G2, you can't exactly call them unlikely, or a dark horse, I would say, to potentially get that trophy, because they have been good in their own region.
And they were excellent at Shanghai too. They only ended up losing to those finalists. Let's see if EDG can get a pistol and make this one a game.
Grouped up now with a Dizzy, and the Haunt not being broken. Already IC rebounds that nade. As soon as he hears the wingman, that will be the plant denied. The plan, see if they've got a second wave of things here, if EDG just want to evacuate. Grouped up, hesitation in their step, and now going to be making their moves over towards the B site. Should be open for the taking. Leaf gives up a lot of this space onto the off angle. Chichu just wanders right into it. Happy to take that fight now, but G2 not willing to slow down, but not anticipating the full wraparound.
Beautiful round from Chichu.
Spike planted.
Leaf was even anticipating that there was a lurk happening over there. Pretty rare that EDG would be going through the teleporter without having some info on the B side of the map. The crosshair placement was not there, and Chichu cleaned up. Crispy round, lovely ghost aim. Now EDG are gonna have to win plenty of rounds here. Start serious ult cycle to get back into this one. Gonna have to showcase us that their attack is a lot better than their defense. But that's the first step. I think it would also have to come with somebody like Icy cooling off.
Yeah.
And individuals on EDG stepping up. Felt like at the beginning on Icebox, it was all those EDG players coming up with the big rounds, the 2Ks, the multi-kills.
And never being shut down for it.
Haven't really seen that.
No. G2 making the most out of the round, just trying to squeeze out every little efficiency. Deny the orbs. Oh, Trent's lucky to be alive.
The goal in rounds like this, just stack as many ult orbs on your players as you can, and then see if you can deny them on the other side too.
Yeah, definitely. Chichu was a lone one taking that fight, even with the better weaponry. So the 1v2 in the favor of G2, even with Valen down to the single digits. Go button's called. Hard clear into the corner, just the shoulder peeking. And you're right. All the goals for the eco here of G2, just deny at the orbs.
I think they've done a good job. You're looking at the ults that are most likely to come online for EDG that could potentially start a comeback happening, and it's Thrash. That's the one that I always look at first. You just get it up so quickly. You're trading people out, you're getting spike plants all the time. You can go and pick up the ult orbs too while Wingman's planting. Generally, that Gecko ult is coming online super early, and nobody's not even halfway there yet.
One enemy remaining.
Simon. That's a read.
He was so confident.
Okay.
Team Ace.
Really the only thing going wrong here for the EG in that round, they didn't quite get the ult orbs that potentially they were looking for. To again get that war machine chugging like G2 managed to do on their own attack. But it's all good. Keep the rounds going one step at a time.
Yeah, it won't matter if EDG can find an individual to step up in this and carry them over the line. You know, somebody like Kang Kang, who has the only real rifle out of the group. If he comes in here and hits some blinding entries, this is going to be a fight on showers. He's got his opportunity.
I don't want to go for this one. Valen, early smoke drop down. EDG are holding the util here. There's a nade, there's a prowler. It's all pressed forwards here. Now Icy is going to get squeezed with the stimmy in play as well. I mean, close range weaponry at short work onto the hold. G2 going to find this one a bit of a struggle. Mosh sent preemptively. I was trying to break that wingman. He's worried about the spacing and positioning. He's already lost track of most of this one. But with the horn broken, spam through the box as well. He's still alive for God knows what reason, but eventually cleaned up. Bonus round for EDG. Looking converted, looking good. Nobody sticking a plan, prioritizing to try and get his ult online. Jonah P off from the flank now. Player positioning of these EDG a little bit separated. He's going to try and play that one together, and Smoggy will just isolate the fight himself, take matters into his own hands. So these are exactly the type of steps that you need to see EDG taking if they want to try and even up the scoreline.
Yeah, if there was a path to a comeback, we're watching it. The run through with the stim beacon, and the sting ended up being massively important there. I was putting the attention on the Kang Kang, but he got traded out. Double kill for Simon. They death balled up, ran through showers, and Trent's positioning towards the back of triple, it was riddled with bullets.
No safe place to stand. It forces the timeout out of G2. Maybe a glimpse really into, there's not too much again you can read into tactics. We're only 3 rounds in onto the half.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can make some small read in terms of how grouped up they were on that side of the map. I think that was 4 players running through shower there.
Yeah.
Which is a pretty unusual way of playing. Possible that Josh RT wants his team to, pull back a bit, give showers control, play for plant denial, that kind of thing. When you watch the way that nobody uses his wingman, I mean, they took showers and he just sent little bro in on the wild escapade
a solo
towards
mission.
default.
Yeah.
Stuff like that can really mess up a round if you're thinking about post-plant positioning before plant goes down on buy. So there are some small things that they could maybe be reading into. And I don't mind an early timeout in this position where you're ahead and you're trying to stop the comeback from happening. Because the earlier you nip it in the bud, the quicker you stop big things from snowballing out of control. And again, eyes, attention onto the Gecko ult. Is this a showers crunch? It doesn't look like it.
No one on
G2.
the receiving end. Yeah, G2, normally you want a player to try and break this haunt.
Yeah, they're just looking to get the orbital strike online. Again, looking for plant denial. I think that's going to be so key here to the way that G2 are playing their defense. It's key for every team, of course, but seems like we're going to see G2 try to play a more passive look to the defending side. Focus on putting EDG in bad spots.
EDG going to be creeping and crawling now over towards this B site. B's up close here, wants to try and take that fight. Bullets lay it down. Not enough for the kill though.
A lot of damage.
It is a lot of damage. Soften them up for Trent, but question is, can he do much with it? Just playing, peeking out of the smoke here. He's found himself corner window of opportunity. EDG want to go over towards the A site now. There's no players there yet. But
Leaf could easily take a timing through this Viper Orb.
Not just that, I mean, he's got a, if there's signs of life from EDG, if they just try and go fast off of this one, he has his own molly to try and slow them down. A snake bite in the back pocket. And Icy's now there with an aid. This looks like it has some danger to it, I'm not going to lie. There's a snake bite. Slowing down the approach. It's the weakest players who are first through. They're trying to take that point of contact. Kang completely separated from his team now. And weaving in and out. It's just spraying and praying away. Rewarded though. Coming up with the goods. Coverage has to be there, and it finally is. Valen shut down as he seeks to deny that plant.
Nade was strong though. Brought Shishu down to 33 health. And here comes a flank. This kill so important.
What's ahead? Patience, patience, patience played. Trent barely there. Grabs the kill in the end. And all this sound and pressure is being made as well. Simon doesn't know which way to look. Satchel's through and plays him in. It's disaster for EDG. And Smoggy is the one who now has to pick up the pieces. 1v2. Time played, time ticking. Smoggy's out wide. A tap, a stick, coverage. Trent lands it with a bullet to the dome. It's an upset round in the making. Completed fully. Thrifty win to get that 10 for G2.
And doesn't Trent know it? Feeding into the crowd there, knowing that they've just pulled off a huge one to stop that momentum. You could see that disaster occurring in slow motion. The weak players, like you mentioned, going in first, getting hit with the vulnerable as well. Leaf barely had to peek, and he caught that first kill. Onto nobody.
Mastercard Thrifty push G2 right back into it.
Look at this death ball from EDG. Nobody watching Sand, nobody watching Fountain. All 5 players grouped up on A to go for a slightly delayed A execute.
That complete intent. Try and get this plant down now. It's overwhelming with the ults. Icy's avoided most of this though. Tucked safely. Up in the smoke, underhanded with the nades again. This is going to be denying the plant surely. Nobody, no way. Wingman survives. In through the back of the site though. That is overzealous by Kang. There was that punish in sight. Thrash through and out detained. Even now Simon, he's pulled it back out of nowhere.
Simon?
Gotta see that one again somehow, somewhere. What was looking so damn dangerous. Leaf now not offered much in terms of opportunities. Spraying right through the wall. Simon finishes it with the secondary shorty.
Hidden gem for the EDG team.
Gotta see that.
He pushes through by the look of things and just swings back sight and deletes 3 of them. But he seems like it was very unexpected. Take a look at this in the replay. As they're focused on retaking lamps, and he gets Trent in the back.
Beautiful.
Valen, Jonah P, not there to deny.
Yeah. The target priority too. Doesn't get flustered, doesn't get overwhelmed there when he sees 4 players. Picks them off.
Now at the top of the scoreboard for EDG, but still 3 behind. And last time, they bungled it on the anti-eco. They can't do that again.
There's no pushback from EDG. They're not going for any stimmy plays off the rip to try and punish these orb pickups.
No, G2, despite losing the majority of the rounds in this half, have actually been blow for blow with ults.
Toxin screen down.
Basically because of what you're talking about, that ult prioritization.
I don't like that. If you are EDG, you kind of need every advantage you can get if you're going to make this come back at the actual reality.
Trent is the one player with the rifle, looking to try to take contact against nobody, against Simon. The 2 initiators who are down to fight, down to scrap.
Played Leaf in. He's for the judge. Mosh now as soon as they hear this boom bot. Nade again through, that's a TP though. BG trying to, oh, Jonah P, you are right there behind them, but again, there's util into the back pocket of G2. Surely this doesn't happen again. Ring around the roses, they're running away up through A short once more. They can't take the TP once more, surely not. Running them down, classics in hand. Can really just try and stave away and play a bit of patience into the round here by G2. The plant is tapped from behind, it's wrapped. The players are being picked to pieces. Nobody gets that plant down. At least they do have that extension, but they've lost all semblance of map control here and given up guns in the process. Doubled up with the rifles, swinging through. It's Leaf who trades it onto Simon. Slow down once more. Fight and a bullet. Just through the wall there. Leaf will survive. Trent walking in. The barrel betrays him. Nobody's down, and it's given an opportunity. In for the 1v1. Adjustment not there. Snaps into the side. The wingman not being used. For the defuse. Trent goes down to Smoggy, and EDG are still alive.
I learned something. These anti-eco rounds are so unbelievably close, and some of them, you know, like we saw earlier, going across the line. Smoggy's the savior there for EDG in the final moment. There was another bullet that got dodged there for EDG as well. Had Valen been able to stay alive for but a moment longer, he had orbital strike to try to deny plant. I mean, the way that EDG are celebrating here, you don't celebrate like that usually for winning an anti-eco. That shows you how close the scoreline is and how much they want to get to playoffs right here, right now. They need another 5.
It's Operator v Operator. Investments from both teams.
Icey's pretty far away from the action, though.
Smoke's down.
Last time G2 double fought over showers, it did not go well.
Valen's got to be aware of that fact. Bursted through from the contact plays of EDG. Nobody is there alone, though. This time, not too much more players alongside him.
This is one of those rounds, too, where you cannot afford to let Smoggy get into post-plan. He's got Molly, he's got Orbital Strike. Too difficult.
Might already be getting dangerous. EDG trying to feign and pull players out over towards B with the pressure. Simon's there, but he's just one man. I mean, it just feels so fake that they already offload the Seekers. G2 get full awareness now. There's no hiding this intent of this EDG squad. They want to land over towards the A site. Pivot options might be there if they try and take the showers TP, but Leaf is also going to be waiting. Mosh is down a tap to pull the util out again, but the timing caught with Leaf. Bullet to the back. Simon is dropped, Pit is earned, and finally played the TP to no avail. And you got to scurry, you got to run away now.
The Brimelt is just going to close this out. They've got absolutely no chance of getting the plant down.
Just not enough done preemptively to pull all this util out. It will take miracles, but again, like you said, Orbital Strike, primed, ready, nobody pushed back. 7 seconds, 6, down to 5, 4. There needs to be a plan online, but the time is lost against them. EDG, no more chances, no more opportunities. And the 11th round, concatenated up now by G2.
Close and closer to closing out this match. G2 have weathered the storm on Haven, are currently weathering a comeback on Bind after a 9-3 half, but EDG forced to take the tag timeout. They just got outplayed here. That lurk, which was supposed to be their plan B, completely getting shut off by Leaf.
See,
the timing around his Viper Orb, lovely.
Not enough to sell it. Just Simon alone, who's just dumping his util over to the one side to see if they can open up A.
EDG have actually managed to get themselves an ult advantage now, but they're 3 rounds behind and 2 losses away from having to drop down to that lower bracket of their group. G2 have burnt some big ults that are good for plant denial. I mean, the Orbital Strike being the big one. It was a great investment from Valen, absolutely secured them the round, but they can't sit back as passively, and they also can't be burning up their utility early on too. Valen used his molly early in the round there because he knew he could always rely on his ult to plant deny. And now you've got to try to save stuff like that. And Icy, I think, is going to be particularly important if G2 want to close. He's got to find himself in the right place because he can't rotate around as much. He's got the op in his hand. And he needs to be there to stop any push from EDG, that showstopper. Got to find value.
Has to be posted up.
I think EDG, it is more important than ever to dodge this op. follow the utility that doesn't get broken. Try to push through smokes, because he's not going to be hopping behind a big smoke.
He might be running straight into it. LEV committing his own orb here. Be used to cut up any sort of aggression in through and out of hookah. Sees it, signs of life as well. The haunt, at least the Prowler, I should say. Excuse me, shot missed, orbital strike, out and around here. IC with the rocket! No way! Insanity with the movement! Kang. He's dodged and ducked and weaved. The fast play from G2 will be punished with a molly at the feet. Cooking them alive in the process, but the rifles are the one to claim the day. Simon delivers all that damage. Valin, too much to overcome. A rapid play by EDG.
Lovely punish as well. You know that the operator is not going to be in that spot. You've just heard the Viper orb go down at the beginning of the round. And not just that, LEV beefed his movement. I mean, if LEV manages to jump out of hookah there backwards and get that snakebite off, maybe this could be different. Maybe Kankan could have been shut down on the route out. As it was, you make one mistake, the whole house of cards falls down. That's what Valorant's like at this level. And G2, that mistake has now caused them to be on an eco. A 4-stack over towards B, exact opposite side that EDG are going for. This is looking like the gap might close to 1.
A lot of presence now and pressure to apply over towards the A site. G2 have been good at least denying some portion of this one when they're on the right ecos, but the players are not in the right places at the right times. I see. Definitely going to be falling here. Satchels. Bullets flying his way. Ult's even committed here.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that.
Yeah, nobody feeling like he has to use it to try and clean up most of this round. Maybe just evidence, I think, of the frantic nature that EDG are operating under. It should be cleaned up. Should be. Carrying a lot of weight. Valindo isolated into this spot. Tries to pre-fire it into the corner. And rifle bouncing and hopping up in place. Simon once more puts a close to that round. EDG, they are crawling closer to equalizing, at least in this map.
The lead is looking very rough here for G2. On a knife's edge, only 1 round separating these two teams. But EDG, I think a little timorous there in terms of how they use their ults. I think you needed to save those for some big rifle rounds that are coming up. Burning them on the anti-eco when you'd already got the plant down. G2 are going to take a tag timeout, so EDG have some time to think about this, but I think that's a bit of a waste personally. EDG losing a potential ace up their sleeve that could have been so helpful in these final few rounds.
But for now, their eyes are set on the path ahead here. They forced G2 to take this tag timeout, forcing G2 to come up with the answers. Despite how close some of these eco rounds have been, G2's money has just been getting knocked down consistently. Lunch money stolen, shoved into a locker.
It's been the new kid, Simon, who's been doing a lot of the shoving. Just moved to this school.
God, he's a quarterback too. The size of him.
22 and 13. A player brought in, looking to add a bit of firepower, a bit of a different skill set to EDG, moving the calling over to nobody. And it's working. It has breathed new life into EDG. They are close, so close to pulling off this comeback. It was 9-3 at the half. You can see it on your screens. Only 2 rounds gained for G2.
Now, ooh, that's a haunt that goes amiss. Supposed to clear out through the top section of E long. Bit more uncertainty now into the step of EDG. 2 players spotted there. Trailblazer, G2 getting some good information.
Simon's got to be cautious here. There is a possibility that a Thrash could end up coming through the teleport. You see that G2 are looking to clear out short. Here comes that Thrash.
Yep, re-clear. Detainment catches onto him, but again, there's that reinforcement arriving. EDG, they want to try and put a stop to this one. Nade around IC. He won't be denied. The line is drawn in the sand. And any sort of challenge, he will swat you away.
What a beast. G2's going to try to make the difference on the other side of the map. He's found this lurk timing just as G2 have backed off. Could this be the moment? Could they maybe try to turn
Sound
this
bait.
2v5?
It's a sound bait. Valen's holding. Valen's holding, but still loses the fight. Jumping around, that's a pit into the spawn. Trying to grant him a bit of that space and luxuries, even if they can get into the A side. 2 versus 4 still here for EDG.
The double push coming out from Leaf and Icy is going to be fast onto this. They've planted, not for the pit, not for backside, but exactly for the flank.
Moshpit's going to be delayed here. They have planted for that flank occurring this fight. Contact plays, shoulder to shoulder. They split themselves up. Smoggy is alone and isolated. All comes down to this timing. Does he win this fight out? Can he make it a possibility? Across their placement, not ideal. And Icy, one more for the ace, denied from that, yet still the damage has been done. Chichu, it's a 1v3, no Util left to his name. The defuse already tapped, stuck all the way. G2, the 12th round is earned, it's under their belt, and now one more step is all they need to take.
It's a beautiful setup, the G2 run. You saw that happening live. Boombot comes out, smoke, just to give Icy this space. He's not even that great with the first spray onto nobody, but then the readjustment shakes himself off, and every shot after that was perfection.
You are insane!
He's playing incredibly right now. Definitely one of Icy's best games at a time when G2 needed it desperately. If this was Icy putting up even his normal performance, EDG would probably have already won this map. They have needed their duelist to become a star.
He stepped up to it. As you've already mentioned, 22 kills. Not the current kill leader. Simon holds that title, but matters not if you end up losing the series. If you end up losing this map, on the precipice now, G2. It's a stalwart hold. The defensive setup. Icy's primed and ready.
Kangkang is going to pick up the ult orb here. If we see nobody bringing the spike back over towards A, then G2's read on this might end up paying dividends. Okay, Kangkang retreats. Icy's in a spot where he could have got one, popped his ult, and absolutely ruined an execute from Showers. EDG may not even realize it, but they've just dodged a massive bullet here by making the swap over towards B. Trent runs over, trying to reinforce the site. They've realized at this point, it's probably where EDG are ending.
He's going to be needed. Exactly right here with 30 seconds onto the clock. This is do or die for EDG. It all lands onto this, and it has to pay off massively. Molly's rebounding off to the side, but Jonah P not caught out still. It's played in to perfection here with the satchels in play. Nobody. Plan's going to be stuck, swinging a wide leave with 2 out through the hookah. Chichu denies, and Icy is left to do the most in this spot in a 1v3. No side control, very little information, just a need to work with, spotting the jiggle peak. Jumping from nobody. And does Icy want to make a go of it?
I think he needs the weapon. Take a look at the credits here. 50 for Valen. 450 for Jonah P.
Yeah, as tempting as it is for Icy to take that fight, earn up the ult for the next. Playing the long con.
And you're right, it is possible that having the ult online may end up making more of a difference in round 24. But we can't know that.
I mean,
played for the weaponry.
This is just insane.
The Stim Beacon double blast pack from Kangkang absolutely broke Jonah P's wrist as he tried to keep track of what was going on there. Kangkang flew past him like a bullet train. He was just gone.
Yeah.
And then the trade through was lovely from nobody. Simon again, pulling up multiple kills in the round. And Chichu lovingly to close.
Round 24. It's do or die. OT will knock down to the lower section of your group. And ults are now online here for G2. Crewed up, built up, mosh pit. Exchange, a bit of a handshake occurring out towards
through the teleport with the Raze ult?
Raze ult, it's here, it's earned, and now is the time to strike. Kangkang right there forwards. He's already taken that timing, and now you might have some difficulties even getting the value, but now tucked to the corner. Expecting that nobody was going to be placed there.
And that's the spike. They've got to be aware of this timing that Chishu could have taken. Valen, Icy, they know this is a possibility.
In through Lambs! Head ripped clean off Simon and Smoggy.
Launching smoke.
Last 2 to remain, but they're up versus 4. and it's to stay alive in the series. What can they truly, really do? A tap. Trying to bait out some presence from G2, baiting out a response. They don't take it. They let them stew, and the plant is down. Smoke in the face of Icy, a bit of spam. Spraying away, hoping for it. Jonah P. Right from behind now, Trailblazer out and away, only the one contact. Jiggle Speak is good here. Sees a little bit better, and a fight taken, squared up to Simon. He wins it. Win cons potentially there, but the position is so damn obvious. EDG would need a miracle. They need it now. Smoggy to deliver, potentially. No! G2 deny it all.
G2, what a performance, what a comeback. Amazing game that fits the script of how they've been playing every BO3 for the last 3 months. You just do not beat them in these map 3 situations. A valiant effort, a great try from EDG. But theirs is not the glory today. Every single #1 seed has lost in groups.
G2, they rise up to the occasion. Don't get me wrong. Tested, pushed to the brink. And it could have got closer if we went to OT, but 13-11, you have to take that at the end of the day. A 2-1 scoreline all the way. G2 have earned that spot now. Moving forward into the playoffs, and maybe, just maybe, it's their time to shine, going from strength to strength.
I think you've got to be paying attention to this team. Coming out of a group that has Paper X in it, EDG in it, teams that are playing pretty, I mean, EDG are playing pretty hot right now. Paper X have done huge things in the past, and G2 come out through it looking fairly clean. This definitely pushed them much more than the previous one, but it showed that same tenacity, that same barking dog spirit that they've got in them.
Resilience, right?
Yeah, to get past the difficult times and push forward.
It's just there for them.
And again, I think with all of these #1 seeds taking L's in the groups, win streaks of teams like Fnatic and expectations for teams like Gen G being wobbled a little bit, the time is right for somebody like G2 to step up and have a big performance. They're going to get their shot in playoffs.
Exactly. Already setting themselves up for success, just getting through this match. Battle worn and tested.
And another potential matchup that might face EDG. If Paper X are able to get through their game against Foot, EDG Paper X, you can't get past it. I mean, it is inevitable.
It feels inevitable at this point. My God, this is explosive. Beginning to end. These teams are pushing each other. G2 just barely able to grasp it.
What a performance as well from Icy.
With that said, let's send it down to the stage for the Verizon post-match interview. I believe if Leaf is standing by.
Hello, it's time again for the post-match interviews, and I'm joined by G2's Leaf. GG, Leaf.
Good game.
What a game, close game too. 네, G2의 리프 선수 만나보겠습니다. 원했던 EDG를 상대로 오늘 결국에 플레이오프 선출권을 드디어 가져갔습니다. 쉽지 않은 경기였던 만큼 이제 뭔가 중국의 #1 시드 EDG를 만나본 오늘 경기 소감부터 들어보도록 하겠습니다. You made it to the playoffs. Tough start, rocky start, but you came through and got a win against China's #1 seed EDG. What are your thoughts on the game today?
I think that there were some issues that we had that I can't really say, but I think that, you know, there were some problems in the beginning and we started a little rocky, and then even then we had to come back, and then on Bind we were in such a good lead, but I think they played very well, and I think that, I think we showed a lot of resilience in, you know, the adversity and stuff like that. So I'm just really proud of how the game went, to be honest, because we closed it out. We didn't choke, so it feels good.
이제 초반에 좀 이슈가 있었지만 얘기를 할 수는 없지만 이제 초반에 조금 그런 실수들이랑 이런 걸 만회하고 이제 헤이븐과 그 다음에 바인드에서 우리 팀이 이런 팀이다라고 컴백을 잘 보여준 것 같아서 오늘 경기 결과가 만족스럽다고 하네요. 그리고 말 나온 김에 헤이븐 후반부터 이렇게 좀 다시 컴백을 하면서 G2가 승리를 가져가게 됐잖아요. 좀 어떤 이유나 전략의 변화를 줬길래 이런 컴백이 가능했던 건지 좀 궁금합니다. Speaking of like the changes and coming back mid-Haven, what changes made that possible for you guys to like bounce right back?
I think just discipline and also just like realizing their win condition. We played a very out of the ordinary comp on Haven, and there's some problems that there's some problems on that map in general. Like, I feel like the fact that like teams are known for rushing a bomb site every single round and just winning a game is kind of crazy. But I think we just fixed the mistakes and just held our nerve a little bit, and it just made it pretty easy.
이제 좀 헤이븐의 우리 팀의 좀 문제점을 좀 잘 파악을 하고, 그리고 원래 뭐 헤이븐의 좀 독특한 오늘 조합을 갖고 나왔기 때문에 뭐 맵의 그런 좀 특유의 특징들도 있었고, 이모저모 어떻게 좀 다양한 접근법으로 전략을 좀 다양하게 해서 우리가 컴백을 성공한 것 같다라고 이야기를 하네요. 그리고 이제 플레이오프에 선 진출을 하게 되면서 조금의 여유가 생겼습니다. 이제 플레이오프에서 다음에 만나고 싶은 팀 또는 그리고 뭐 어떻게 좀 준비를 할 건지도 좀 들어봐야 되겠습니다. You have a little bit of a break until the playoffs. Which team do you want to meet? And also, how are you going to prepare for that? If not, if you don't want to mention that, you can just say, oh, I would like to do something.
We're gonna have to see who comes out of like second seed in every single group. I'd really like to not play an NA matchup, to be honest, because I just feel like domestic is just not as fun as playing international.
Right.
In general for playoffs, I know we can't play them first round, but like Trace would be super cool. I think they're showing a lot of creative stuff. And then I think DRX would just be cool just because of like being in Korea. And I haven't played against those guys in a long time. Obviously they changed rosters since I played them back on C9 in lock-in. But I think it'd just be fun to have that like kind of rematch.
이제 좀 아무래도 원래 아메리카스 출신에서는 만난 팀들은 다시 안 만났으면 좋겠고, 그리고 트레이스도 오늘 되게 창의적인 플레이를 많이 보여줬기 때문에 좀 재밌을 것 같고, 그리고 홈그라운드인 DRX 팀 로스터를 변경하고 나서 킥오프 뭐 그때 락인 이후에는 만난 적이 없기 때문에 그 경기도 되게 기대된다고 합니다. G2의 리프 선수의 인터뷰 만나봤습니다. Congratulations again for your win, Lee. Thank you for the interview.
Thank you.
All right, we'll be back tomorrow with more Valorant action. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, man, it's a late time here in Seoul, South Korea. Let me see. 11:24. Santissimo. All right, I am joined by Icy. My brother, congratulations. That was a slugfest, huh?
Yeah, it was quite a series. The last two maps,
yeah,
all rounds, all 24.
Yeah, were you, look, we know EDG is a phenomenal team, right? So you guys were very much aware of that going into it. But I guess, mentality with the team, were you guys just very gung-ho? Because I know you guys, have more of a cautious optimism at times, having known you for a little while now. Yeah. Or were you guys like, okay, let's just take it one round at a time? Or were you like, no, we're going to win this?
We wanted to always stay confident, but just make sure it's not too overconfident to where we're peaking. So just making sure we're staying disciplined, just playing our game plan out, and worked out.
No, for sure.
Yeah, I want to know. It's like your first time going up against EDG. What did that feel like? What was that team like to go up against? Everybody knows they're kind of crazy. The China region in general is well known for being a little bit unorthodox, let's say. How did it feel playing against them live on the server?
They played a really good game. Their icebox looked really solid. All the rounds were really close. We've scrimmed other teams as well. We scrimmed them in Shanghai. We scrimmed them, and we also scrimmed Trace. And I kind of knew Trace were going to be demons going into this.
Oh, so you had the intel?
Yeah, we knew they were doing really well against us in scrims. So.
Damn. Okay, I got to show you the pick'ems in a little bit because you're going to be blown away by what the community rated Trace at. It's pretty mind blowing. But you were absolutely electric.